love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. JETS, Jets.
Can't all be beautiful.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
You're in the danger zone.
Totally, back row.
Hello and welcome to the Danger Zone. Another Friday night in the DZ with the crew that is you. Welcome. I got some new updates on the old Streamwire, whatever you want to call it, man. As you can see here, the chat's a little different. I'm working on it. Okay, we're gonna figure out the best viewing pleasure for you. So help me iron that out. Like, for instance, do we like the newest chat being on the bottom, or are we used to it being on the top? Do we like it looking like this or like that? Or hey, we'll get into that. It's a start of a longer stream, I'm sure. We got no East Coasters trying to kill the vibe and go to bed early. They're just starting out in bed because they got to work in like 4 hours. It's me. But I have a guest, okay? I have a guest who has never been here on a Friday night. How about that, man? Because once you do this thing for, well, hell, actually, we are 2 months exactly to the day, 2 months away from doing this for 2 years. We started on 4/20/24. Don't say that 6 times fast. 2 months away from a 2-year mark. Nice. It's not often you can get a guest who has not appeared on the flagship program, as old McAfee says. Tonight we will have the one, the only DKB on the channel. He's been a Jets YouTube channel since 2020. Actually just hit 5 years. Actually just hit 3,000 subscribers coming on. And he's been on the channel before once, I will say. But we made it a Saturday, I think a Saturday afternoon without Murph because of scheduling and stuff. Yeah, so I said, you know what, this time, got to get old DKB in the old Lit Friday show. Got to, man. His knowledge will be appreciated with this crew. So we did do that. We aligned that, and Murph was all pleased, and then bam, Murph can't make it. What the hell, Murph? You guys feel free to give him shit. I never do that, so I'll leave it up to you guys. But DKB will be joining probably about 30 minutes or so. But until then, man, it's just me hanging out and Bailey. Oh, did I say your name? I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Chill. Just us chopping it up. I see there is 20 watching all over the place. Actually, tonight I said that the chat had an update. I can change fonts. I can change sizes. I can change, basically the whole aesthetic. I can move it to the middle now. I think I can move it on the left. I don't even know half the shit I can do yet. It's a big update. Let's just put it that way. But also, YouTube has had this thing the last couple months where you could stream in portrait and landscape simultaneously. Lay down, babe. And it's looked like crap. Okay. Because why? Because YouTube's handling it. They handle too much. Okay. So it's looked like crap. I've done it a few times, and literally me and Murph will be like half of our cameras a piece, and you can't see either of our faces in the phone portrait version. Couldn't. And that's when my provider stepped in and they said, you know what? Agreed. That YouTube version's crap. Let's do it ourselves. Let's handle it. Right now, I'm staring at myself on one side in landscape, TV mode, laptop mode, computer mode, looking like we always do. But also in the corner, I see the iPhone version. They got me cropped. You can finally see me. You can finally see me. So producing is a little chaotic right now because it's like new chat. I'm seeing myself twice, but you know what? All this just to say, like, constantly improving the channel first and foremost, trying to improve with the memberships and the chats that honestly just help us, support us for real. To give you guys back 120% of what you give us, that we're doing, but also like I'm paying like 3 times more than most to produce it better as well. And finally getting the ROI from them because they're updating things constantly. And it's nice to see. So all the stars are aligning. But unfortunately, Murph, he looks at those stars and he thinks, man, I better go to bed. Yeah. Anyways, let me get into it. We are just kicking off in the Danger Zone. Another Friday night, man. If we're coming up on 2 years, man, we got to be coming up on 100 Fridays. Think about that. Okay. I have to get those numbers for you at a later date, but I guarantee it's getting close. But anyways, the chat's been on the side the whole time, but that's the only place it's been. Let me look at some people. Let me see you guys in all of your glory as we do. Charles B says, let's bask in the misery that is being a Jets fan. Emphasis on misery. But guess what? You know what they say about misery? ... Party with Peg and Artie. That's a bar. Speaking of bars. P and A. Love you guys, man. Glad you guys are here. Buckle up. You're built for this. Yeah. Infrared. Cheers, my brother. Infrared, this one's for you. If you're just finding us for the first time ever, it's probably because you are someone who likes shorts. Guess what? Now we're available there. So you're swiping from this weird ass short, and then boom, I'm in your face. If you are mildly intrigued by this program, then click the channel, come on over to the landscape version, and I bet you will see that the chat pops more over there. But otherwise, just check us out, subscribe, like, and do all that jazz. Gifted membership received by QKA Jet Fan. Congratulations, for real. Come chat. It's easier to figure out who you are, what you're about, if you come on over and chat in the main space. That is the landscape version on DayngerZone YouTube. JT in the house, Scott Foster in the house. Love you guys, for real. Jesus Jerry, all the way from down under. You know what? Down under. We're all used to that, right? But Jesus, he lives it. Love you, brother. Yeah, Scott says 420. You started on 420. Yeah, we did, man. If you click my channel, you hit that little description under my channel and expand it. It'll tell you all sorts of things. It'll tell you when, how many views the entire channel has since it began. I think we just hit 100K. It'll tell you how many videos I've made. It'll tell you a little brief description about the channel, what it is. It'll also tell you the Genesis date. Check it out. Check my math. 420, 2024. Yeah. Joey Oliver, appreciate you, brother. Great show, he says. I wouldn't get that far. I'm alone. This could bomb drastically, and you guys could never come back. Kingston, Tanoko. I miss your orange beard, man. You know what? I miss you. And is that a seltzer? Is that an IPA? Is that an energy drink, Kingston? I need to know. Do I need to? Are you a Sean Kingston fan? Are you a Kingston Tech fan? Because I do know you guys make thumb drives. I'm sure it's a descendant of yours or something, but you make RAM, you make thumb drives, Kingston. Very well, yeah. But you also make epic reggae. So I need to know which side of the fence you align with, RAM or rap. Man, appreciate you. Glad you missed us. Again, every Friday night, every Sunday night. This week, pretty bad because Sunday I had a co-host cancel on me, as did I tonight. What is up? You could tell it's the off season. We're supposed to win the off season. What the hell, folks? Nah, it's no biggie, man. Again, I have a guest lined up, just stalling a little bit, but not too painfully. I'm actually just enjoying you guys rolling in. Again, we have 20 here. We have 16 in one place. We have 4 in another. So, yeah, appreciate you guys. Let me know what you guys think ought to be discussed with DKB. Again, he's been making content. Man, if I'm coming up on 2 years, he's coming up on 6, 3 times longer than me. I will say one thing he is way better than me at, way better, is the knowledge of college prospects. Very good there. He is very good at staff hirings, all sorts of stuff. Very good channel to follow in general. I mean, a lot of the channels I follow all do the same thing. The splash news. Hey, we just did this. What do you think? This is what I think. But like DKB is more measured, man. He more long view, more sensical. Worth a follow. I'm telling you, man. I do not overstate it. It's not often that I tell you to follow a channel that I don't think you'll like. It's never. So just a heads up. Project Prospect with Dom C, another guy I strongly suggest you follow. Dom, want to chop it up, man? Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, Dom. I mean, hell yeah. Oh, wait. Are we past 5 minutes? Okay, I could say fuck yeah, Dom. 17 minutes in, I could say fuck. Yeah, dude, because honestly, you and DKB are a similar vein, and I will say we're gonna have a more wide open conversation with Dom next Friday. And why next Friday? Because we're gonna be midway through the NFL Combine, which last year is exactly when we brought Dom on, and it was epic. We're gonna do that again. The D linemen, the linebackers will be done. The safeties, I believe, will be done. And then boom, talk to Dom C. What did you think of that? And then boom, what should we think about the QBs tomorrow and the wide receivers? So yeah, look forward to that on the 27th. But guess what? You might get a tease tonight by way of Dom chopping it up with us. Maybe he'll stick around, chop it up with DKB as well. Man, that would be, man, then I could produce. Be epic. I got some takes to weave in there as well, but it definitely helps to have a second fiddle, a third fiddle, and especially ones who know their salt. Both those guys do. So we'll see if Dom joins us. The link is there. Let me answer a question or two from the chat. Babu 8795. Got to get those digits in there. That's also a very good graphic you got. Is that Jack Nicholson? I think it is. But he says, "Are you Hillbilly from Super Jabronis Class Pro Wrestling Deluxe, bro?" I mean, there's a lot of years of my life that are sort of a blur. Conversation for another episode. I don't think I am, but I feel like I owe it to the chat to fully answer that question. Let me see who the hell you're talking about. Super Jabronis Class Pro Wrestling Deluxe. That is a mouthful, man. Whew. Let's see. I don't know who that is. I'm getting all sorts of characters, including Hulk Hogan. Oh, Hillbilly. Am I Hillbilly? Hillbilly. I mean, my co-host is usually the hillbilly out of both of us. I'm not gonna lie, but am I Hillbilly Jim? I need more info because I would love to look at this with the chat and see if I really was him. During the Gase era, that kind of that part of my mind is kind of just a blur, and I think it was self medicating because of old crazy eyes. But you know what? Let me know who is Hillbilly, and I will Google it more effectively. But guess what? What I don't have to do is stutter around and bebop too much longer. I got some help on the horizon. Don't call us D&D, although I mean D&D. Hey, without further ado, let me bring him out. See what he's got to say. Dom C, what's up, man?
Dano, what's happening, brother? How are you?
Dude, I am fantastic. I am great because sorry, dogs scratching their collar. I'm great because honestly, where we are today, like Longview, 2.25 months from now, we're going to be so much better. So it's like, man, if I can be great now, I'll be splendid in 2 more months. Is that how you feel as a draft analyst?
I am. First off, thanks for sending me the link, dude. I'm sitting here in my office, in front of my computer, finishing up writing up. The tight ends. I write for this draft guide publication, this magazine that goes out, and man, let me tell you something. The next couple weeks, the next 30 days are just going to be so like stepping on throats, gun to the foot to the gas to the floor, if you will. Kind of stressed trying to get all this stuff done that I need to for that, and all that other stuff, man. I got some pretty fun content coming up over the next 60 days, dude. So I'm just sitting here writing and editing some draft guide stuff, and shout out to you, Dano. I always listen in when I'm around on a Friday night. So I saw you were struggling. I don't know where you're. I don't know where Murph. Not struggling, but I didn't know where Murph was. I didn't know if you had a guest. So I said, "Hey, hit me up, man."
Dude, I appreciate it. I hope I'm kind of helping you just break out for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have time for a couple questions, man? I'd love
Let's
to
rock,
pick your.
dude.
Okay, dude, hell yeah. Where do you stand at 2?
Oh man, toughest one. So I think, with the hire of the new coaches, especially the D-line coach from Pittsburgh, I can't remember his name for the life of me. Help me out. The guy who was here, went to Pittsburgh and came back.
Dunbar,
yes. So, I think Dunbar had such a big role in really developing Herbig and Alex Highsmith and even TJ Watt for a little bit, to an extent, that I think you can assume, as we should, that there's going to be some more 3-4 odd man front principles involved. I don't think it's going to be a true, 3-4 base 3-4. I mean, in sub packages, it's going to be a lot of even fronts. But that being said, with the work that he's done with those, those rush end / 2-point stance demons that they had in Pittsburgh, I got to assume that the choice is going to come between Bailey and Reese. I have Reese graded better than Bailey. So if I had to choose between, I think it's going to be an edge. If I had to choose between an edge, if I had to choose an edge right now, I'd probably lean Reese, and understanding that he has the most work to do, but the ceiling is the absolute highest of the bunch.
Does it? If he only ever play, and that's a big if he only ever plays off ball backer, can it still be worth 2 overall?
I don't think he's going to only play off ball backer, so it's kind of a little bit of a loaded question. I think that he is going to, kind of be to answer your question simply, yes. I think it can, I don't know if they're drafting him to be an all off-ball backer. I think they're drafting him to kind of be a joker, a chess piece. Remember, he spent a lot of time. Remember who our quarterbacks in this division are. He's going to spend a lot of time. If it is Reese, he's going to spend a lot of time shadowing, Josh Allen, Drake May, kind of being, that in their hip pocket, doing all that stuff. He's going to help with the blitz. I think you're going to be able to move him around. There's a lot, I know this is high praise, but there's a lot of similarities in his game to what Abdul Carter was the year before he transitioned to a full-time edge. I know everyone goes to the Micah Parsons route, which is a fair comparison, positionally. But I think there's a much more comparison to what Abdul Carter was. Abdul Carter was an off-ball backer that wasn't very good at coverage and whatnot, but he played fast. He played violently. He came downhill. He was excellent against the run. Strong as an ox, freaky athlete. That's everything Arvell Reese is.
Dude, I'm almost resigned to if we get at least one Buckeye in the top 20, I'm happy.
Yeah, but what's funny is I actually have, I didn't know how to, he's such a hard eval in the sense of where do you put him? Do you eval him versus the other edge rushers? Do you eval him versus the other linebackers? So I actually did 2 evals on him, and he's my highest rated edge rusher, but my second highest rated linebacker. So Sonny Styles is my number 2 player in the class.
Dude, let me ask you this. How often have you ever done that before?
No. Even last year with, Travis Hunter, I graded Hunter. It was the first one. So I actually just picked and I said, I'm grading him out as a cornerback. I think he's going to be a cornerback in the NFL. and probably kind of weasel his way in or have a package or something like that on the offense. But I grade him out just as a cornerback, not as a cornerback and a wide receiver.
Dude, and it seems like you're trending toward being accurate.
Right.
As we know, the news this offseason has been he's going to be more full-time corner. So kudos there. You were right. Do you have time for a question or two from the
Dude,
chat?
I got nothing but
Okay.
time, dude. I will bridge you over until your guest comes with no
Dude,
problems.
Do you know DKB too? Because I don't mind if you stick around.
I do know him. He and I have chatted a bunch.
I figured he's a prospect guy as well. Although you really are. He dabbles all over the place. But E Boogie chimes in $5 super chat. He says, "Fellas, can you guys see any chance the Jets trade for an elite defensive player who is a cap casualty? And if yes, for positions, would it be safety, edge, defensive tackle? Dom, can you see that at all?"
You mean, and I'm gonna kind of answer a question by asking the question first to E Boogie if he's here and listening. You mean a guy that's like might be a cap casualty, and before he's cut, you just go and throw out, do the old 6th round, 7th round pick swap kind of thing and add the player in? Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen, Muji hit and his his NFL pro scouting department really hit the bricks hard last year, doing all that stuff that they did, trying to find trades for the guys they wanted to get rid of, finding the trades for guys like Brownlee and Harrison Phillips and the likes, Briggs. So yeah, I could see that. Where it happens, I don't know, because I don't even know who's really on the fence of being a cap casualty. Now, I've heard some, and again, a lot of what I read on Twitter, I don't know who's got facts and who doesn't, you know what I mean? And I'm, an old man, so I'm the first one to got. But I did see Zaire Franklin. He's a linebacker. I think he would play. I think he would play well on just about any team. An interesting one is Marshawn Lattimore, who, if he's a cap casualty in Washington, he had his best years in New Orleans under the tutelage of Aaron Glenn. Knows the scheme exactly what he wants. Now, where are you playing him is a question, and are you taking on, he's got a big salary. Is it worth taking on that big salary when you've already paid a big salary to one guy in Brandon Stevens that you handpicked? You have another young and up and coming guy that you handpicked in Azaria Thomas. So Marshawn Lattimore is not playing the slot; he's an outside corner through and through. So the fit sounds weird, but I could see that one maybe.
What about and these are all rumored and like you said, Twitter, Logan Wilson from the Cowboys, linebacker.
It doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest with you.
Marlon Humphrey, Ravens.
So he'd be interesting because I think, in schematically, he could fill what Isaiah Oliver did for us last year, and that's the overhang or the that robber safety as well as some slot corner. So that would be an interesting one, but again, that would be probably very, very pricey. Now, I think the Jets wholeheartedly like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I really think that they pinpointed him, and people don't realize, like, everyone's quick to say, "Oh, the guy's a holding merchant." Yeah, he is. He holds a hell of a lot. However, he fits the run like a linebacker. He's so good fitting the run in run defense that it allows you to play it allows you to play nickel, allows you to play sub packages.
Like I can't say about the 2026 defense, but the 2025, man, he was one of the few who had teeth. And I'll stand the holding if you give us some freaking bite, man. And he did.
No, I agree.
Leo Chanel.
I would Well, I think he's a free agent.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but he is a guy that I would, give a blank check to if he wanted to come here. It would probably cost that as well. It would probably take a blank check. It would probably take some Johnson & Johnson shares to get him in here. I mean, that guy's gonna, other than JFM, I don't know if there's another more or JFM and Linderbaum. I don't know if there's another more wanted free agent than Leo Chanel. Every team's content creators keep, saying, "Shit, Leo Chanel is coming to us. We're gonna get Leo Chanel." So,
it's like Linderbaum, right? There's 31 teams,
and JFM. JFM's another one.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's funny too, because we had JFM and just kicked him to the curb for no reason.
Yeah. I got another one from eBoogie, Dom. He says, fellas, which side of the fence are you okay with prioritizing? I assume he means exclusively. If that's the case, which I think it is, if you had to pick one where it was just, let's fix this and not the other, and then do the other later, is there one?
I don't know, man. That's a really tough question. I want to say, like, my heart says offense, but who's playing quarterback? Because you're not fixing it without the quarterback, and I just don't know if you're finding the quarterback this year. I just don't know.
And the way the draft is, I feel like this is the year to do defense. Would you disagree there?
This is the year to probably move back and sell some of your capital this year for picks next year. I mean, the class on paper now, you never know who's going to declare, so on and so forth. I get that, but even if you just take the quarterbacks out of the equation, there are wide receivers, there are edge rushers, there are offensive tackles, there are cornerbacks that would all be top 10 players in this class by a landslide. So yeah, I would do everything I can to get as much capital next year.
Dude, you're bringing in the super chats, Dom. I might have to Venmo you after this show. Infrared chimes in. He says, "Brother Dom C,
yes,
would
sir.
you not reach for a quarterback and just snatch up Taylor Green with pick 175, or maybe even trade up for him in the later rounds?"
Oh man, so I don't know. Let me explain it like this. I'm resigned to the fact that they are going to be using capital next year to go get their quarterback. I think that their attempt or their stab or their dart throw at the franchise quarterback will come out of the 2027 draft. Okay. So the question is, what do you do until then? I'll tell you this about Taylor Green. Taylor Green's not very high on my board. He's my 8th ranked quarterback in a very, very thin class. I have one top 5 grade in Fernando Mendoza. I have one early second round grade in Ty Simpson. I have one 3rd round grade in Garrett Nussmeier, and then everything else is day 3 or UDFA of all the 20 quarterbacks that I've graded. That I've evaled. Taylor Green is kind of smack right dab in the middle there with a 5th, 6th grade for me. So, Mobile, looking forward to watching him. You watch him warm up. You watch him throw the ball in not just warm ups, but like in the early sessions, like the 7v7s and stuff like that. You can tell the physical talents that he has. The ball just pops, just zoom right out of his hand. It's like he's got a strong arm, a very lightning quick release. And then the way he moves, like I was there with Dylan Terman and Jake Asman, and I at the time we were watching Taylor, and I was there with Dylan, and we were parked right in the end zone. We were literally field level, right in the end zone. and you're watching this guy move, and I said, I'm seeing now. I'm going to outdate you, Dano, but I said I feel like I'm watching when he runs, when he moves. I feel like I'm watching Randall Cunningham. Just the way he moved on the football field, it reminded me of Randall Cunningham. The way he held the ball here when he ran, those long strides. He's a big dude at 6'6", 200 and some odd pounds. Problem is, he just doesn't throw the ball. Like, he's got a great arm.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal athlete. You can tell he's a smooth, phenomenal, twitchy athlete. He just doesn't play the position of quarterback very well. Very hesitant to throw. And we're talking at the Senior Bowl practices when there's no real contact.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm gonna agree with you and pretend like you outdated me on that one. I'm gonna pretend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randall, dude. I don't think I remember him with the Eagles. I think was he with the Vikings for a stint before Dante got there?
I don't remember. I mean, I'm talking about Philadelphia Eagles, Randall Cunningham. I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe
yeah, that might be.
maybe he was with the Vikings as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of blurry there, but I do know that. Yeah, that era is right around the beginning of when I started following.
Yeah, that athlete, that level of athlete is very few and far between, right? It was him. It was Michael Vick. It was Dante Culpepper. And I think Taylor Green can be that Anthony Richardson and Taylor Green, all guys. I mean, Vic wasn't as big as those guys, but these are all guys that just moved at a different level. That's Taylor Green. And listen, a lot of, Michael Vick went first overall. Taylor Green's going to, probably get drafted. There's a chance he doesn't. So, comparing the two is very, very difficult. However, there's a lot of people who thought that Michael Vick couldn't play the position of quarterback either, that he was just an athlete. We saw it recently with Lamar over the past 7 years, thought that he couldn't play the position of quarterback, that he was just an athlete. Both of those guys proved everyone wrong. So maybe Taylor Green can prove me wrong as well. I just don't know if I'm there on it. I'm all for, if you want to take a stab at somebody on day 3, we have 7 day 3 picks. You want to use one, one of those 5, 6, or 7 to take a stab at a guy. Have at it. Yeah. Have stab away. I just don't know if we can count on any of those guys to really become anything. Just because until I'm proven wrong, like, I don't think that we have the chops to develop a quarterback. Hopefully the Jets and Frank Reich prove me wrong.
Agreed. And I think that we're going to have to use multiple ones to get our guy next year. I'm just not going to assume we're going to have pick first overall or like who we're going to, have fall to us. But 2 guys that are kind of polarizing. I mean, at least as far as the top 20 goes, and our pick was 16. One guy I want to ask you about, Ty Simpson, obviously, yay or nay at 16. But then another guy, like, all of a sudden the last couple of days is like, wow, this guy's a top 20 pick. I know Ricky New York is big on him. I'm big on him, second round. But, like, now they're saying top 20. So Ty Simpson at 16. Dylan Freeman.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say
what the fuck, man? Top 20? Really? Like, you saw him. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, so I'm not on board for Simpson at 16. Just because, again, like I said before, I'm hesitant right now to see. I want to see first off, I want to see if Frank Reich is going to be able to develop a quarterback, or what has changed in the mindset of the Aaron Glenn lineage that shows that this time it's going to be different. And I'm not confident yet. I think Ty Simpson has a lot of upside. I do. He just, and some of the stuff, yes, he was hurt. I understand that. Yes, he had a bad running game. I understand that. The Ty Simpson stands will tell you, well, he had the worst running game. He had the most drops in the SEC. Guess what? I get it. The best quarterbacks overcome that crap. Right? Fernando Mendoza. No, we can't really say much about the year in Indiana this year. That was, phenomenal. But when he was at Cal last year, 28-6, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 4,200 yards, something like that. Sacked 48 times, like led the nation, and the California offense led the nation in sacks. He still single-handedly figured out a way how to make them bowl eligible. We're talking about Cal, who didn't have near the talent that Ty Simpson had on Alabama. So I don't want to hear it. The best guys kind of elevate the others around them.
Is it the prospect or the draft slot? Like, does the narrative?
It's the draft slot. It's the draft slot. I don't think it's because if he's there in the second round and you wanted to throw a dart at him, absolutely, like, have at it. I probably still wouldn't. Not my cup of tea, but it'd be a lot more easy, a lot more palpable because you take him at 16, he's going to get forced. And I think the stuff that Ty Simpson does wrong or needs improvement on just really needs reps. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. And then it's the whole, like, first this year, at least a first next year. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to stick and pick a quarterback next year and be content with that. I'm just not, dude. I'm assuming we're going to use 2 firsts next year to get a guy, and I'm going to play it like that. So if that's the case, I can't use 1 now and 1 later. Like, it's just not going to be what I want. I'm sorry.
The way everything just panned out this year, with all the holes on the roster, with everything going on, I just think that the best roster building mechanism is to build everything around it, figure out how you want to bridge your quarterback from 26 to 27 and take the shot next year. That's it. Pretty simple.
I'm with you. Tank for Ty won't like that. He said, 16 at least, maybe take him at 2, but that is also
listen.
Tank,
And
Tank for Ty.
I will say this, Dane. If he's the Jets guy, if they're dead set on him, take him at 2. Don't wait to 16 because then you're going to get disappointed. So if their process leads them that he's their guy, take him at 2. I don't care what you do with him. Start him. Don't start him. I don't care. Just don't. I want to see. I don't want like failed or bad process in this whole thing. We have too much capital, too much high capital, too much opportunity to let like failed process kind of just throw a hamper into what we're trying to do.
A seasoned GM and like a long-standing good organization with these picks, I can't fathom what they could do with it. So, like, if we squander them, I don't know if I'll recover. I'm just saying that up front. I don't.
Listen, you're not the only one, man. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. They got to. I mean, we're already on thin ice, man. I think most of us. But these picks are keeping us alive. And, like, I don't know. We could do one bust, but, like, I don't know if we can do a quarterback one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And let me get back to the second part of that question.
Yes.
About Dylan Thieneman. So he is, let me look. He is my 24th ranked graded prospect in the class. Do I think 16 or top 20 is a reach? No. For the player, I just don't know how much safety is really going to be valued, right? You'll see it with Caleb Downs. The league is going to tell you exactly what they think of the safeties. If Caleb Downs drops to 10, 11, 12, first off, the Jets better do everything in their power to trade up from 16 if he's on the board at 10, 11, 12. Secondly, it's going to tell you that the league doesn't care right now about safeties, especially this class of safeties. They're not going to let you. Oh, there you go. Look at you. They're not going to let you. Who is this? Whose picks are these?
These are according to, let's see. You know what? Some random Twitter. So,
Okay,
so
okay, that's fine. No,
don't trust it. I
I
do.
I was just
I do want
curious
to.
because I thought
Yeah.
that was I didn't know. Like I said, I can't see very
Will
well.
Will Will Parkinson reshared it. I don't know how viable the author is, but I will say it does seem like there's a lot of good safeties. Am I crazy there? And would you still take a non Caleb Downs one in the top 20?
No, I wouldn't take a non Caleb Downs one in the top 20. And like I said, I think that once we see where Caleb Downs goes, if he drops to the top to number 10 or lower, there's no chance that anyone else is going in the first round. Because the league is just telling you they're not valuing safeties. I mean that wholeheartedly. I mean, interesting list though. I don't know who this is. I thought it was from afar. I thought it was your guest for today, DBX.
It's someone with 15K called Foots the King. So I don't know, maybe a Rex Ryan fan.
Well, we got the same top three.
Okay.
He and I in that same order. So I mean,
I think his original post said, this class for safety is a baked potato. You will get a guy in the fourth or fifth.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
I do
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
What do you think about Daniel's question here chiming in? He's got
Mark,
to work.
where are you, bud?
Yeah, dude, he's got to work at 3 a.m. Eastern, and he's here chatting it up. But he says, "What's up, Dom? Best safety, not named Downs."
Yeah. Like I said, my next highest rated guy is Dylan Thieneman. And it wasn't until probably, I watched the playoffs and then got through his film in the playoffs. I think he really stepped up, he really, really stepped up. But you listen, you can really see how he can help a team, fit in the run from depth. I think he's got I don't know what it is with these, these white boy safeties and taking bad angles, but I got like a lot of, I get a lot of like bad juju when I see that, and he cleaned a lot of that up. Definitely can flip and run with guys. I think he can play the center field. But I really like what he can do more so in the overhang and in the box as well now. And similar to EMW, like that dude's a freak, I don't know if you had a chance to watch, even if it's highlights, Dano, of EMW. That dude is a freak. I'm going to tell you, go watch some of that. Go watch his
Where's he
highlights.
play?
Toledo.
Oh, Toledo. Hey, Quinion Mitchell.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
They're quickly turning into, low key DBU.
Bro, Rockets. Go Rockets. I spent 30 years in Ohio, so shout out to
really?
Toledo. Yeah, shout out to Toledo, man. You know what I wanted to ask? Someone said that Dylan would or could squeak into the top 20 if he ran a 4.3. Do you see him as a 4.3 guy though?
Let me see my notes.
I don't see that. I don't see that. I see 4.4 something, but like I just can't, man. Daniel Jeremiah is saying top 20 today. Like I looked at that and I said I disagree, and I don't disagree with Daniel Jeremiah.
No, I don't know. I didn't notate anything in my film notes about him and like speed. I do have here, the high end athletic profile, and the fact that he has been vocal in the sense that he wants to run in the 4.3s. But I mean, I don't see it on film. No.
Yeah, agreed. Charles Gorman chiming in. He says, "Hello, gentlemen. How are you? How are you, Dom?"
I'm very well. Thank you, Charles Gorman, 1094.
Not to be confused with Charles Gorman 5188.
Is that somebody different?
Yeah. Formerly known. Yeah, I think he updated his handle there. Which 88 catches my eye because I was born in 88, so I don't know if he was too, but yeah. Shout out to him. Dom, just to be clear, Jets channel and all, like, you're not wearing a Patriots hoodie, are you?
Washington Capitals.
Okay. All right. DKB on his way. Dom, I wanted to ask you, so there's some other chats I can get to. I just need a minute to pick through them. But like, a lot of if we were to take a receiver in the top 20, talk to me, because I know like Tyson has injury concerns.
Mhm.
Tate, you'd have to probably overdraft.
Yeah.
Lemon, we might. I mean, we might take a wide receiver. So like, can I pick your brain there?
Yeah, sure. I think the Jets would be. I think the Jets would benefit big time with any of those three. So, just so we're clear, if it's, assuming it's an edge off the board at 2, okay, my tiers for 16 is Downs if somehow he falls, which he won't. Okay, Sonny Styles if somehow he falls, but he won't. One of those 3 wide receivers, if they fall, I think only one of them will. And I don't know which one, but if one of them, if a wide receiver to fall, you're not going to have multiple of those guys. So that's where I would go there, and then I would probably go Vega Yawane, the guard from Penn State. But I think Jordan Tyson's the best wide receiver of the 3. I think he's the true alpha of the 3, meaning 3 years from now, 4 years from now, he has the chance to be definitely the highest ceiling. He has a chance to be in that elite tier of wide receivers. I think that highly of him. The injuries are real, and they did ding him, and because of that, in my grading process, because of that, he's wide receiver 2. But I don't care where, like a guy like Jordan Tyson complements anybody. I think he could probably be the wide receiver 1 on the Jets. Cornell Tate, on the other hand, completely different game, completely different body style. 83% contested catch last year, fucking ridiculous. Red zone threat. That Ohio State wide receivers are going to come in and be able to transition to the NFL game very well. They're elite. They're all elite route runners. I like his size profile. I probably think he might be a little bit too one note with what AZ Mitchell or what's his face? AD Mitchell is. I'm not going to let AD Mitchell prevent me from drafting Cornell Tate, but they both are long. They both can separate. They both, can take the top off the defense from the X. So you're going to have to get creative. And then there's, Mekhi Lemon, who might be the best schematic fit for, what the wide receiver room looks like, and for what Frank Reich wants to do. Frank Reich doesn't necessarily want to push the ball vertically all that much. He plays on that horizontal plane. Anything between 5 and 20 yards in the middle of the field, you're going to see lots of mesh concepts, lots of crossing routes, lots of digs. And I think Mekhi Lemon's probably the best schematic fit for that, because you can pop him right into the slot. You could have Garrett at the Z, and you can have AD Mitchell at the X, and you can even draft another bigger, more possession type X receiver if you want later in the draft and be comfortable. Mekhi Lemon's also a freak. Can I curse? A fucking ridiculous insert blocker. So he's going to take he'll deplete a linebacker, crashing down and coming in on those outside sweeps and stuff like that. Good stalk blocker, not afraid to get his nose dirty. Really, really tough, really strong. So you can't go wrong with either one of them. You can't go wrong with any of them,
And I'm a big proponent of, I'm not even promised we're drafting at 2 and 16, and call me crazy. 2 or 16 and 16. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you, and maybe you can buy me 30 seconds. Can you sound off on the other guys, like the Bostons of the world, maybe the Chris Bells of the world?
Yeah.
That we, because who knows, man? We slide once or twice, all of a sudden we're picking at 25 and or 38, or who knows, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think of
Yeah.
those?
Before I do that though, can I answer to the Oscar over here?
Do your
Be-
thing.
because I think it's a fair point. I think what he's saying, in regards to you can't take a wide receiver at 2. No, I think I think you can, right? I absolutely think you can take a wide receiver at 2. As a matter of fact, I don't think that it would be the worst option if you're looking for a stand-up. I just think the value of edge player that you can get at 16 or 33 is not, the drop off isn't as steep as if you miss one of these wide receivers here. You know what I mean? So to me, I think you absolutely can go wide receiver. I think it's a very weak draft at a weak draft class at the top. Outside after the quarterback, I think there's a lot of faults with even the prospects that are going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you want to get out of there with one of these 3 wide receivers, take them at 2. So to that, to that point, I think you absolutely can. Talking about some of these other guys, I think Omar Cooper, is a guy that I've been in on a long time. There's someone that's going to, he's a name that's getting very, very warm these days. So he's a guy that I think is going to come off the board a lot sooner than we previously expected. That's a good looking doggy. He's got, the ridiculous, run after the catch abilities. He catches everything. He's built very solidly. He's built very stocky. Good strong hands. Like I said, the ability to force missed tackles. All that stuff is really, really high level. I don't see him. I think his absolute floor is San Francisco. Because to me, he's Debo light. And that's exactly what they could use over there. So,
Oscar's with you, Dom. He says he's been saying that all month long. The drop off at wide receiver is far greater than it is for edge. These wide receivers are gamers, and he wants one.
yeah. So the question, and again, I meant what I said was, if you want to get, like, if you think that one of these wide receivers is exactly what you need, go take him at 2, right? If you think a defensive tackle is what you need, go take it at 2. If you think Ty Simpson is exactly what you need, take him at 2. The reality is that the variance between 2 and 52 is a lot smaller this year than it is in years past, right? So there's not that many. I think that Caleb Downs and I think Caleb Downs is probably the only guy that I would classify as blue chip in this class. And it's funny,
I love you.
Yeah, I
Caleb
would
Downs, baby.
I would lean even towards probably taking a receiver over Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is my number 1 player in the draft. Like I said, I can't justify. I don't think the Jets can justify, with all the holes in their roster, a non, paying a safety ultimately $13 million, making him a top 7 paid safety in the league.
Yeah, 40 some guaranteed. It's tough, man. I am big on Downs, as you know. I'm sure I DM'd you about him this week. But like Caleb Downs at 5 versus Caleb Downs at 2, way different. I would love to. Obviously, we all want to slide, I think, because there's 3 defensive ends there to choose from. There's several positions. It's like if we could get a little more out of that pick,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
So I will say this: the one thing that I kind of sway against the norm about like overall with this draft class, like everyone says it's a stacked wide receiver class. I think it's a good wide receiver class. I don't think it's stacked at all. Like I said, I think you have a tier of 3. You know, the top 3 are in a tier themselves. And then for me, the next tier is Omar Cooper Jr. And then there's probably a tier after that of the rest of those guys. And you wanted to kind of touch on some of those. KC Concepcion is a guy from Texas A&M that a lot of people like. You know, to me, he's a little bit undersized. I think you're getting a guy that, you know, can move very well, has had some, you know, drops and some concentration issues. You know, I think he's got 21 drop passes over the past 2 years. So that's not great. But he's a little bit undersized. And, you know, I just don't, like I said, trying to figure out what I expect this Frank Reich offense to look like. I don't know what his role would be, you know, and I could say the same, you know, so that takes out, you know, if I'm saying that about Casey Concepcion, that also takes out Antonio Williams. It also takes out Zachariah Branch. It also takes out Deion Burks. It also takes out all the LSU receivers because they're all those really quick twitch, shifty, undersized slot receivers. I just don't know if that's the avenue that Frank Reich's going to go. But I could be wrong. We'll see.
Do you think it's a year like I feel like this is the AVT argument that I always make, but I'm going to spin it to a prospect. Do you think it's a year where we could take a shot on a guy like Chris Bell, who's obviously got an ACL issue right now?
Yeah, I mean the Jets with 4 picks in the top 44. This would be in call it what you will, a rebuild year. It's a perfect opportunity to take a shot on a guy like Chris Bell. I get a lot of Denzel Mims vibes from Chris Bell, though. You know, so again, keeping it a buck with you, Dino.
Oh man, damn.
I get a lot of. I mean, he's just. I mean, everything about it: the size, the explosiveness. You know, I know people force DK Metcalf. You know that comp. I don't see it. You know,
Dude, Jets Chaos will be bummed to hear that. He's a big Bell guy. I'm just looking for like, how can we take a, you know, because you said it, man. We're in a rebuilding year, and it's like people want to ship off AVT, and it's like, aren't we the perfect team to take a shot on AVT? Like, you can't be a championship team, you know, wanting to plug him in. You can't rely on him that heavily. But a team like us, why not? You know, like that's where I'm at with Bell. But obviously, I don't know the prospect like
yeah,
you
no.
do.
I mean, listen, and I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not at all. Like, I just, like I said, some guys give you vibes. He gives me a lot of Denzel Mims vibes, you know. And a lot of it has to do, like, you know, he's a big, strong guy. He can run, you know, he can blow by you, you know, on that go route, but lacks a ton of refinement. Doesn't run anything near a full route tree. You know, doesn't set up his breaks at the top of the stem good. You know, he runs full speed. You know, he kind of doesn't have that ramp up or that shift down kind of speed.
Yeah,
He's full speed and until he stops. So
that's disheartening to hear, because I know exactly what you're talking about. There's an art to it, you know. It's not just a 40 time, you know.
yes.
Like yeah, rough.
Yeah. So you know, but then there's some other guys, like I said. So I told you the top 3. My second tier would be Omar Cooper by himself, and then my third tier would be Jeremy Bernard from Alabama, KC Concepcion from Texas A&M, Denzel Boston, and Elijah Surratt, who I think are both dare I say similar in terms of what I expect their skill sets and profiles to be as NFL receivers. and it's just, they're going to be, possession, boundary possession, 50-50 red zone threats. A question if both of them are going to have enough wiggle and enough foot speed to get separation at the next level. And guys that can't separate don't get targeted.
No, they don't. They don't. I'm with you. And it's like when it gets to that, like three guys in that same mix, it's like, how do you know? One guy could pan out. You can't tell which. It's just they're in that range where it's like they got to make it for themselves if they're going to do it,
Yeah.
So interesting. Bell, someone said Bell 4th round. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think he'll get there. I think somebody's going to take the chance on him. There's a lot of teams that have, like Pittsburgh for one, who is in such dire straits for wide receivers, and they have 5 picks in the top 100. They have a first, a second, and 3 thirds. So I don't even think he gets there.
Let me ask you this, Dom, and I don't mean like I'm not trying to typecast you, so I want to deviate a little away from prospects for a second.
Good.
Who's your first call when the tampering window opens?
Probably Leo Chenal.
Nice.
You know who my second call might be? And this is
Who?
maybe this is a hot take. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Okay. That's a hot take. I like that.
Yeah. I think
Tell me why though.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, again, smaller in stature, but I think he can do so much, as a receiver. I don't think he's slot specific. He might, percentage wise, he might, live in the slot more, but I'm talking slot fades, the vertical stuff, the ability to force missed tackles, which I think is so huge, the yards after the catch. Now, he might be overpriced, but it's a call I'm making for sure. I just think he's an interesting he would be an interesting one. I see a lot of them coming through the chat right now. Tyreek Woolen, nice player, just not a scheme fit for what he's probably the farthest thing from what Aaron Glenn wants. He's a cover 4 guy.
Someone linked him to us, and I think that's why it's catching on. Like someone said he was the best fit for the Jets, and you got to look into the stuff like that,
Yeah. And somebody's saying Rondell runs the routes. Yeah, he does, and that's what I love, dude. You remember? I mean, I was probably the biggest AD Mitchell stan when he was coming out of Texas. Why? Because of the separation that he creates. We watch it with the Jets. Just didn't have a quarterback that could get him the ball, but. That's how you win in the NFL. The wide receivers got to separate from these DBs who are getting bigger and faster and stronger year after year. So give me a guy that can win one-on-one.
Yeah. It can't all be tight window throws. It can't. You got to get the easy stuff. And Yeti chimes in. He says, "Wow, 2 versions of the show." Yes, there is a version that is iPhone portrait mode. If you're watching over there, appreciate you guys. If you want to chime in with the chat you see below, hop on over to the regular version on my channel, and you'll get the 30 people in the chat talking it up with Dom. And it's Dom. I appreciate having you because it's like your peak season, man. This is like I do appreciate it. I really do, and I hope you know that. Again, you'll be back next week with Murph. I'm sure, I'm going to have to give him most of the questions because he's going to be jealous after tonight. But did appreciate it. And let me ask you, like all these guys that are possible cap casualties, maybe just trade targets. Are you even dabbling? Like, are you like Kirk Cousins and Tua and Kyler and I don't know who else, Kenneth Walker, whoever you want to throw in there? Is there anyone you're really having Muji call first, or are you just waiting and seeing?
Well, like if I'm playing Muji or what I think is going to happen
If you have Muji's ear, not what you think will, I mean, we all know what we think will happen, but like, what would you guide him to do?
I would guide him to get as much young offensive talent through the draft. Fill in holes. You're not gonna build this team in 1 year. Fill in some holes where you need to in free agency on the defensive side. You know, that doesn't mean the entire draft is offense. No, of course you're gonna bring in. You're gonna bring in some defensive guys, but if you're looking for those 1 year filler guys, have those be on the defense and build your foundation of your offense through the draft. That's what I would tell Muji. Now, that wouldn't preclude me from taking a guy like I talked about, I don't know why he's on my mind, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety, in round 2. Of course, if he's there and so on and so forth, I'm taking defensive guys. But I think, if you take a wide receiver, and it doesn't, I'm not talking just in the high capital, just throughout, if you get a wide receiver, if you get, another guard, if you get another tackle, we have tackles. We have 2 phenomenal tackles. People don't realize is they're the only 2 tackles on the contract, right? You need to bring in, you need to attack the offensive line in both areas. You need to go shop at the dented can aisle like he's going to do in free agency and take some stabs during the draft.
What about AVT? He could be a backup tackle.
Yeah, you know what? That'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how they handle AVT Simpson. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably say they re-sign AVT and they let Simpson walk. I think there's a possibility that they both walk, though.
Yeah, I do. I don't think they keep both. I don't. Simpson, and I'm sure you've heard this, man. But like, a lot's to be made about his wife, who's going for nursing or doctor, and she's in New Jersey. Whether that'll want to keep him, maybe a hometown discount to stay.
Yeah,
I don't know. But all I know is, like, I don't think you just let AVT go. Like, we are the team to, like, I also think that he's got to feel freaking fucking bad, man, the way he's let us down. How can he not give us a hometown discount? That's what I'm trying to say.
So are you, let me ask you this, Dano. Are you a TikTok guy?
I am not.
Okay. So I'm not either, really. My daughter downloads it. My daughter downloaded the app.
I had it in the past years ago, and I liked it then, but not anymore.
She watches a stupid. It's like watching YouTube Shorts in essence. Where was I going with this?
Simpson?
No, AVT.
Oh, okay.
So AVT's wife has I guess she's a big TikToker and she has a big following. She's been hinting subliminally, not directly, but subliminally, that, oh, well, we're packing up the house here in Jersey. Don't know where we're going to end up in the fall,
passive aggressive.
I guess maybe passive aggressive. I don't know. Just like certain things like that. I noticed that the other day. So I was like,
interesting. Dude, that's the first I've heard that. That's a good nugget, Dom. Hell yeah. Because you're right. Like, I mean, the fact that she doesn't know should just reaffirm to us that, hey, if they're not even talking to this guy, not looking good.
But I would be okay with Simpson coming back. I really would. If I have to choose one or the other, I guess I'll take AVT just for the youth and the the true power profile that he brings in the run game. And people get upset about Simpson's penalties and whatnot. If you look at the 2 outlier years where Simpson was just like overrun with penalties, last year being one of them, he had Justin Fields, who, the time to throw was the league's best, and Justin Fields and then 2 years ago Lamar Jackson would just, erroneously or just escape the pocket after 3-4 seconds and, kind of walk into their own sack. So I think some of those sacks on the offensive line get credited to the offensive lineman, really should get credited to the quarterback. If the offensive line blocks their defense for 4 seconds and the quarterback starts scrambling and stepping up and steps into a defender and gets sacked, then that's what he should that should go towards quarterback.
Let me ask you this. Who is the first Oregon Duck drafted? And we talked Thieneman, but there's another guy that I think he's going to be vying that distinct honor to be first off the board. What do you say?
I would take Thieneman over Sadiq. If we're ranking Ducks, I would take Thieneman over Sadiq, but I think Sadiq will probably go first.
Fair. I see a lot of stuff where it's like, oh man, he's mocked at 30 some. And I'm like, Sadiq, 30 some? Like, have you seen him play?
Yeah, he got a second round grade for me, so I think I have him right in that same realm. He is player number 29 in my board.
You know what? If he's there at 33, I am running through walls because like Mason Taylor, awesome. Mason Taylor is a number 2. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I see DKB's here, so I will let you guys go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was like I said, I was just helping you out and holding the bridge. I don't want to step on the toes of your guest, homie.
Dude,
but I will be in the chat listening.
You're the man, Dom. And we'll see you next week, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, appreciate it, Dom.
All right.
Have a good night. Hey, Project Prospect with Dom C on YouTube, everyone. Check that out.
No, it's actually changed. It's Project Prospect _ NFL.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to remember that, Dom.
Project Prospect _ NFL. Yes.
Okay.
I'm following the algorithm gods and telling me what to do. So
I don't disagree. Actually, I think that's probably the underscore, man. But
yeah.
the shortening, I like.
I'll talk to you, brother.
Love you, man. Later.
Bye.
All right, Dom C. Everybody, what about an impromptu co-host? Who needs Murph, right? Tell that guy who needs you next week when you see him. What? You lost your job last week, Murph. Tell him, guys. Tell him. I'm kidding, of course. Dom C, great guy to have on, and stall for time, man, because he is a one-man band at times, and you know what? I appreciate that because I do enjoy producing, probably more than I do prognosticating. Actually, definitely more than I like prognosticating, I will say. But time is upon us, folks. 29 watching. Let's see. We got 28 in the general chat. We got one more on the shorts feed. I appreciate you guys. Chat's on screen for both so you guys can see what the hell is being talked, whether you are in the main chat or the side chat. Just don't slide into my DMs or you will be banned. Just kidding, obviously. Let's bring him out, man. I have held you guys for an hour and 20 minutes teasing this guy, saying he's coming. Y'all been waiting. And here he is here, and I'm holding off. What am I doing now? You know what? Let's bring him out, hear what he has to say. The one, the only, DKB. What's up, man? You're muted. Still muted.
Hold on. Hey, there we go. All right.
DKB, what's up, man? How are you tonight?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate man, I haven't seen Dom C in a minute. I've seen him, I haven't seen him, you know what I mean? Always good hearing from him. But man, yeah, I've been hyped, try to get here all night, chop up some football with you.
Dude, I told you, though, when we set this up, man, I was like, literally anytime, because we typically do carry on for hours, man. So, like, it's kind of nice to give my guests or give my, like, the audience a guest at this time of night. Usually the guest is wrapping up, so you're kind of giving my second shift like a nice fresh perspective. Typically, they've already had me and Murph for 90 minutes, and they're tired of us, man. So appreciate you joining us late. Bro, I don't know if you saw the top of the show. I know you said you have been watching for a little bit, but the top of the show, I shouted you out, man, because I checked out your channel. Not only have you just hit 3,000 subscribers, kudos. You've also well eclipsed 500,000 views, man, and that's not just all shorts. You know, that's 5 years you've just hit as well. So maybe start there, man. Like for anyone who's seeing you for the first time, can you tell us, you know, maybe how you started doing this and like maybe how it's gone? And not like 10 minutes worth, but like just yeah, what started it all for you?
Yeah, man, it's funny. I feel like you do as much behind the scenes research as I do because I wasn't even thinking about like what my numbers were looking like. I'll see things like the little highlights from like StreamYard or something come through and tell me. I don't know if I've actually paid attention to that. That's actually kind of insane. But yeah, I got my start. I think technically it was 4 years ago. My channel was originally supposed to be a gaming channel, and trying to do gaming content on YouTube killed my joy for the gaming. So I was like, okay, I can't keep going down this path. So I was like, I do kind of want to still be able to talk and like have some kind of community. Jets. Let's see if I can get something going. I'm stuck out here on the West Coast. It's not going to be a ton of Jets fans. So I was like, let's just see what I can get going. And probably like the majority of the first year, I remember like almost a ton of my videos getting like maybe like 5 views here, like 2-3 views there. I was like, man, I'm not even seeing a comment. I might as well be talking to myself right now. But chipped away at it. So yeah, hearing like 500K, 5 years later even is pretty
Dude,
insane.
I think it's 600. I think it's 600K, man. And it's you just hit 5 years in December. So, dude, you're one of the first, like the longest tenured that I've done. I don't know if you were doing Jets the entire time, but like, not many people can say they've been a channel for that long. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, probably like the last 3.5 to 4. Like the first year was definitely gaming, and then I was like, yeah, this isn't moving anything. But yeah, I think purely just the love of being a Jets fan and wanting to talk to somebody about it without, getting shitted on because I'm a Jets fan. So it was like, can we foster some kind of legitimate conversations and can I actually build something and maybe connect and find some other Jets fans out here? And if not, then I get to talk to them through the internet, and that's just as good for me.
I didn't realize you were on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm out of Vegas. I grew up in Jersey. I'm from like the Summersville, Atlantic City area, but we came over to the West Coast when I was pretty young. Did some back and forth trips and all that, but I pretty much settled in here with the family and whatnot.
So you're probably very excited when Geno Smith became a Raider, right?
Not, and you know what's funny? The company that I work for, actually, I don't know if they still do. I'm pretty sure because we just hosted a couple events, but they're one of the sponsors for the Raiders. So we get like, old legends and stuff that come through the jobs and have a ton of like little short interviews that I've done, nothing related to the channel, but like signatures and all that kind of stuff. So that's been cool, but I like almost never pay attention to much of the Raiders stuff if the job doesn't give me like a heads up. Um, so like the only time that it really comes up is if like the Jets happen to be visiting here, and I'm like, all right, do I want to go through the whole Allegiant Stadium thing and figure that out? But
Yeah, I guess you're kind of in the best of both worlds, though. Like in near Vegas, Jet fan, you're getting picks 1 and 2 right in your lap. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't realize that, man. No wonder the coordinating with times. We were like Pacific, Eastern Pacific. Like I always lean Eastern to accommodate most people out there, but like now I know your Pacific time. You're screwed, man.
nah, it's good. Yeah, it's so hard trying to do it everybody else. I give the wife a hard time a couple of times a year. I'm like, please, let's somewhere closer to the East Coast. Please move me. We'll figure it out. But um, yeah, it definitely makes it hard to. It's more of the family stuff than anything. It makes it hard to collaborate. But yeah, I love a good time differential too, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not a morning person, so this kind of suits me as well. But actually, yeah, because what does suck is like waking up at even 8 or 9, and it's like all the Jets news of the day has been dropped for hours, and it's like that sucks. But this time of night, YouTube comes alive, and it's not like one for me. And like it's crazy how late the YouTube community. Speaking of them, 34 watching, man. I, let's just get into it, man. Let's just chop it up. We're just BSing.
Kudos
Um,
to you, by the way, man. It's no, it might come alive, but it's hard to attract them. I definitely remember like early on in the process of doing lives, which I don't tend to love, especially if I had them solo. But I remember it was hard to pull in people for a while. So to get a pretty substantial grouping like this, it's well earned. You do a
thank you.
lot of awesome work, my man.
You know what helped me, and I know a lot of channels starting out, they never attract people, and I get how difficult that is, man. Especially like monologuing, and you're talking to one or two. Like that's the toughest part of the whole thing, I think. But like, what helped me is I was a viewer for years. And I think that like just being in chats, all various chats, not the same one all the time, but like just being everywhere and like you create friends and family. And then when I started, like I already had like 20 people supporting me. So like that really helped. And they stay supporting. They're really nice community, this whole Jet fan base. Like as hard as we've had it, we've had each other and like can't be understated. I don't think if I was in chats, years ahead of time and like got to know people, I don't think it would be, even what it is now talking to you 34 here. It probably wouldn't be. But I appreciate you, man. Um, I don't know where you want to start because like the last time we officially spoke was May. Dude, a lot has happened since May. I don't know if we have to hit it. We probably don't have to hit it all, but like this off season at least, like I don't want to jump straight to Brees Hall and AVT talk. I want to
Yeah.
get there, but like we have a whole new staff. So why don't we start there? Like if I told you the staff 2 months ago, do you think you would be pleased at how it turned out, or would you be equal or less?
Yeah, I think I to me, objectively think speaking or thinking about the process, I think it's a net positive for us. Like the contingent or kind of consistent theme over any regime, any rebuild, any roster turnover when we thought we had head coach potential has been, oh, they don't have enough experience. And usually it's on the offensive side of the ball, but it's like, oh, they got a bunch of newbies, and you don't have like a Carl Dunbar of the offense or anything like that. Like Steve Hayden was a guy that I loved coming in, and I think he's definitely proved his worth going into year one. So I loved him. I thought Jeff Blasco was a tough loss, but then you kind of offset it with the Roberto Alberts pickup. So you get the experience. You love the Steelers system and all that. I think ultimately we probably go from, I forget what the number was, and I had this somewhere for like a video I was going to do about the coaching staff as a whole, but you probably go from having like 53 years of combined experience last year to you're looking at like 100 and like 30 something years of experience, like drastically different. And all these guys aren't like the upper tier of whatever their position groups is or titles, but that still matters. 153 years of experience compared to 53 is, that's 2-3 lifetimes worth of football there. So I think the struggle, and if Aaron Glenn's message kind of kicked in about wanting to have synchronicity throughout his coaching staff, if they can just meld the experience and really strategize and have a good vision board out there for what it is they want to do, I don't see why you can't have some level of instant success in year one. Which I know the bar is low again. I think I just saw like the projections were 5.5 again for win total or something like that. Um, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I can't say that I'm like head over heels about all the names. And I'm not a person that loves experience just for the sake of having experience, but I think each of the coaches have had enough highlights during their tenure to where you can say there's a shot that this can work.
Yeah, a couple. What I liked was like a couple of them were coming off of Tomlin's staff.
Yeah.
I think that's underrated, man. Like we all know Carl Dunbar. He could probably be good on any staff, which kudos to him. That and us. Like that's great. But like the other guy, I think he was the tight end coach or Alfredo.
Yeah.
Was he? Was it Roberts?
Yeah, Roberto Alberts,
Alf,
I think something like that, or Alberto
Al,
Roberts. I think that's
Alfredo Roberts.
something like that.
I thought of pasta. I'm like, okay,
That's
it's
what I was
Alf.
about to say. That's exactly where I went with it. But yeah,
But
tight
you
end
look at
coach
his
there and then Carl Dunbar.
resume, man. His resume, though, like tight end coach for 20 some years. Dunbar is saying you said it, man. 100 years of experience, but like, where do you draw the line? Because Wilkes was kind of a dinosaur, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the context of everything, of course, mattered. Like that's where I kind of love to live, and where like a lot of my breakdown videos kind of lie in that. I really like to try to see what the story behind the whole situation is. And when you looked at Wilkes, it was like he never stayed at one place too long. Like, why was he being? And it's not like he was at the Panthers for a year, and then it was like the Cardinals really wanted him, so they tested it out for a year, and somebody else really wanted him, and he kept jumping around because he thought the situation is better. It's like when he's been a position coach, you've seen longevity. When he moved up to being offensive coordinator, you've seen consistent turnover, and then when he had shots at head coaches, whether that was interim or legitimate shots, you've seen a dumpster fire. So it was like, okay, maybe this guy is really good at connecting individually with the players as a position coach. But once you start bringing in the full gambit of work as an OC or head coach, you start to see things, fall into the wind. So um, I don't think it like the conversations are a bit different, Steve Wilkes, as opposed to like the Alfredo Roberts and the Carl Dunbars of the world, since they're position coach wise. But like even Steve Wilkes to Frank Reich is going to be drastically different in terms of what they've kind of gone through over the course of their career.
Agreed. I know if you polled me 2 months ago, man, I didn't think that they would attract half the staff they have. So I'm glad they did because, man, I was hanging by a thread. Now I'm hanging by twine.
It was depressing 2 months ago. Like even for the people
Dude,
that really didn't like the hires, I think they just don't like it because they don't like the resume, which is fine and dandy. But like 2 months ago, I remember people being like, "We're gonna get some fucking no name from the UFL or something, and it's gonna be crap."
exactly. I mean, how could you not think that though? Like, rough, man. And we didn't even know it's AG. Okay. Would you have retained AG if you were Muji or Woody Johnson for that matter?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I hate putting myself in this situation because I want to say I have belief. Like the conviction that I hear from him, it didn't wane. Like it's year one, so I don't expect it to sound the same. But like if you can recall hearing Robert Saleh going into like year three or like midway through year two, it was like, damn, somebody took the soul out of you, man. You're just here just like kind of spitting words to us and you're trying to believe it, but um yeah, it was just rough. So it's like I kind of started to see that with Aaron Glenn, and that's where you started hearing people be like, "Oh, he's more docile with the media and all this kind of stuff." And it was like, no, maybe he just learned a little bit that like having to fight them too after also getting your ass kicked probably isn't a fun experience. Um, but I I believe he can get it turned around. There's not tangible proof to have a logical reason as to why.
Well, let me bail you out a little bit. I'm not saying for the rest of his deal, just for 2026. Does that help you at all? Like, because I mean, honestly, I was willing to give him year two. I wasn't willing to offer him more than that. But like, I did feel like he needed one more crack.
Yeah, I never looked at it as like, okay, he got a 5-year contract. Let's give him, the 3-4 year runway. I do think there are some situations where year one is so bad that you can't reasonably make the argument to keep a guy, and that's kind of the mind frame I landed in. Um, but then also like when you consider the replacements, like if we thought we weren't going to be able to get anybody on the offensive side of the ball, that wasn't strictly because of Aaron Glenn. That's because you don't have a quarterback. You don't have an easy path to a quarterback. Your best offensive weapon, arguably, in Brees Hall is probably leaving. Garrett Wilson, you assume is coming back healthy, but it's like, eh, how many players around the league right now are like, screw this? Max Crosby, AJ Brown, they're like, no, no more rebuilds. I'm trying to go somewhere and compete. And so, like, all the guys that can matter in the league are filtering out to the teams that are actually winning consistently. And so, what head coach wants to risk their first shot on coming to the Jets of all things? And even if you like, I also try to go back and think, what would have happened if somehow we convinced the Ben Johnson to come here? It's like the next conversation is Woody Johnson's going to screw something up. So it's like you can't really win one way or
Right.
the other. But
Well, and
the,
then
the,
like you said, well, like perspective too, like around the league of like why come here, like the Max Crosby, and also like Quinnen went to Dallas, Sauce went to Indy, Michael
yeah,
Carter the second went to Philly. You think those three locker rooms didn't hear why those guys didn't work out here as well? Like,
yeah.
ooh, tough, man, tough. We have some public perception, I think, to fix. The only problem
What do
is
you
we're gonna have to
think?
win.
To
We got to
that point,
win.
what do you think? Because I did find it interesting that like I can't say unprompted because they were asked the question directly, but like when the comments about like their Jets tenure came up, Sauce Gardner had kind of glowing reviews about Aaron Glenn and the ability to turn it around. So did Quinnen. I didn't hear anything from like MC2, but like for the guys that mattered and would have had a legitimate reason to just kind of set set Jets community on fire. It's like they didn't take that shot, and part of that is just personality, but also is like we didn't even really get a nugget of like, nah, it was trash over there, and it's unsurvivable. So that kind of mattered to me. I don't think that also means that they're going to be out here giving ringing endorsements to free agents to come or anything, but it's like I think there is still something to the foundation that Aaron Glenn really was trying to build if they still have that level of confidence that this thing can get moving in the right direction.
You're right. Like it could be their character just taking the high road, not wanting to throw us under the bus. But I think you're right in the fact of they started to see an improvement over the solid regime as far as like the culture build. I think if they saw the same old, they probably would have threw us under the bus, because they would have saved face in the process. But at the same time, like you said, they didn't. I think Sauce talked a little bit about fans, chirping at him, but he didn't say Jet fans. He was just talking general fans, and they flood his inbox, man. Um, yeah, you're right. We are low hanging fruit, and yeah, they are apparently vegetarians. MC2, dude, I think he just went into witness protection when he left here. I don't think he's ever been
Yeah.
seen since.
I was surprised it didn't really like instantly work out with the Eagles, especially because I assume the team that picked him up wasn't going to have like the size concern issue stuff. So it was like the dude's a baller, mentally smart, he knows how to play. So like The only way he's really losing is if you expect him to really do a lot of like downhill, like safety-esque almost stuff when it comes to that. Um, but yeah, man, he fell off a cliff. Like I haven't heard his name once really since the trade. Um, other than to say that he's kind of disappeared. So it's crazy.
Agreed.
I guess we
And
got out at the right time, but it's crazy.
yeah, I don't know if it was injury, but like that dude, that was a great secondary that he could thrive in, and maybe he still will. I'm not saying that, but like he didn't even. I don't even know if he got on the field or for how much. But let me table that for now. Oscar the Grouch chimes in with a good question. He asks us both. Who was one free agent you guys always wanted to sign with the Jets, but we could never get? I don't know if he means past or just present. For him though, it was Joe Thuney.
That's a good question.
I have one. If you want me to buy you a minute.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. I mean, if you guys are close friends of mine, you know who I'm about to say, but I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat, and I'll tell you also, this guy we might be able to this off season, but I'm not counting on it. That guy for me, Mike Evans. Dude, the last 5 or 6 years I've been dying for that guy, and he won't leave Tampa. Damn it. He's a philanthropic guy, so I'm thinking like, man, come to New York and end your career because literally you can parlay New York into some kind of post-career thing. I know this isn't the offense for you probably, but like just come here and ride off into the sunset. Maybe he still will, but I have a strong feeling he won't. But that's always been one of my. I mean, I think everybody loves that guy. But to watch him play, man, it's just special. Like you can just pencil like the highest floor you'd ever find. Love that guy.
Yeah, to think even him cracking the 1,000 yards for the record, this past season, it was like, damn, how many games did you miss, or like parts of games did you miss? And everybody under the sun is injured.
Yeah. I think he went 11 straight, and then this past year he missed it, but like he only played 8 games. So like a lot of people say, oh, he would just retire because that streak ended. And I don't know, man. He seems like he's running it back. His agent said it this week, and apparently they're shopping themselves around the league. So he's probably going to go to a winner, which we haven't proven to be. But that's a guy that was always on my top whatever 3. But what do you think, man? Was there a guy that you've coveted and we just could never land or we never looked at?
That's a bit hard for me. I don't think I've never walked into an off season with like anything as odd as that sounds, but like I do remember, and I'm trying to think of the year, but the initial free agency for Alshon Jeffrey. I always loved like a classic like X receiver dude, and I thought he moved a little different, kind of like a lighter or lesser Julio Jones. I was like, this is going to be the guy. Then if we want to go and get like a slot receiver or whoever else and try to have like a Puka Nakua, that becomes so much easier. But I thought Alshon Jeffrey could have came here and just been our Brandon Marshall for a good number of years, and I was like, man, we can never get anybody. Like I would have threw him the bag, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. And he still went on to do really, really good before injuries really ended up creeping up on him. But Alshon Jeffrey's the one that really comes to mind about like, damn, what a myth. Like I can't even remember us really even being in on him. And I don't know if we were just excluded and so it wasn't worth exploring or what. But yeah, Alshon Jeffrey was like if I had a list, he was definitely within like the top 3.
Dude, we want it sounds like we want an X, man. We want an X receiver. Hopefully we can get one. I mean, we got picks. Let me segue to that, man. Do you and dude, you don't have to, feel the need to, answer these questions, but like where do you stand with our draft philosophy, or do you have favorites for the picks, or do you want to go offense? I mean, you could be as specific or generic as you want to be.
Yeah, I don't have a plan just yet. Like I think this upcoming week will be when I start kind of doing like Jets target breakdown videos and stuff. Um, but for everything I'm kind of peeking at and storing away and stuff like that, I think our roster is just in a place where it's hard to necessarily have strengths. Anywhere you don't necessarily have like a dominant advantage over like a division opponent or anything like that. So to me, it's acquire the best players regardless of position. Like I'm throwing value in the premium groups and all that kind of stuff right out the window. 4 picks, top 44, you have a chance to grab essentially the top 2 or 3 players at any position group that you potentially want. And so that's kind of my plan. I don't know how I would split that up between like defense and offense just yet, but like my initial thought is probably defense potential first, and then like if Sadiq does somehow drop, because I've been seeing that a lot too, with like the first pick and the second, and yeah, you snatch him up. But I'm thinking defense, weapon, depending on if Kenyon's there or if it's a wide receiver. And then I want a linebacker. I just don't know how we can work that out just yet. I would love
Are
to get
you
kind of a throwback, like a Demario
well?
Davis.
In free, I don't know if you mean in free agency or not, but I hear a lot about that Rodriguez from Texas Tech. I don't know if you know
Jacob,
him or if
yeah.
you, yeah. What do you know anything about him? Is he too good to be available at 44?
I think I think a lot of it's going to be predicated on the combine. The way I understand it, he's not a physical freak, but he's definitely athletic enough to survive in the NFL. And so I think as long as he passes, these magical thresholds that these teams have, um, I think it's a chance he wouldn't be there. You probably have to take him if he even makes it that far with like that first pick in the second round. And my thought process right now is he's probably well worth it. Um, like defensive philosophy for me right now, outside of course, like literally the defensive line, try to find the playmakers. And what playmaker means or how you define that, that could be up in the air. But linebackers generally aren't chasing sacks. Get me Jacob. He has the peanut punch. He knows how to grab the interceptions. Former quarterback. He understands how the quarterback is going to try to manipulate the defense and stuff. Like, give me that dude, right? Like, I've seen like this wild mock draft. I can't remember where I did this before, but I had like Caleb Downs at one point with like the second, of course. I think I was doing like an all defense draft or something, but it was like Caleb Downs. I had I think it was Keldrick Falk. Caleb Downs, Keldrick Falk. I think I picked up Jacob Rodriguez with the first in the second, and then I think that next pick was like Dylan Thieneman or something, because
All
somehow he was still
defense.
there. Yeah.
All defense. Well, let me
Yeah,
ask
I
you
don't know.
this.
Grab playmakers, man. Grab the playmakers.
Yeah. Well, you're the first, and I want to give you kudos because most people that talk to me on cam about the draft, when they think of adding a weapon, they just immediately go to wide receiver. Dude, I think Sadiq should be in the mix. I'm glad to hear you say that because I think what he would do for this offense would be as good as a wide receiver, too. Maybe a higher floor than a lot of the guys. Maybe, not the 3 bigs, but like after that, why not, man? The dude's an animal, and run defense, his blocking, fantastic. It's like Jackson Hawes meets I don't even know, insert Tony Gonzalez or someone there. Like
I think it's
dude's good.
necessary though. It's
Yeah.
necessary. I think all the smart like football minds are like, for even people that just walk into the NFL, you'll hear the teams that often end up doing the best on offense, they have the matchup nightmares, and that's exactly what Kenyon Sadiq is at the end of the day.
The only thing that would take him off my board and being higher than consensus on my board is what I'm trying to say, is like if we could get like an Isaiah Likely in free agency, I think you get that pick back and you can use it somewhere else. So that is one of my first calls. I do try to get.
Where's the range at for you? Are you considering him at 16, or is he's only like the second, the first pick in the second?
No, he's on the fence for me at 16, and he might not be there. But like I've seen him go 10, and I've seen him go 30 some. It's crazy. I really don't know. I have to see the board and how it shakes out. But like at 16, if Sonny Styles is there, okay, I'm taking Sonny Styles, man. If Lemon's there, I'm taking Lemon. I am. But like if I look at the board and it's Peter Woods, I'm taking probably Sadiq, man, or like I'm trying to get a fifth to go back to 19, or you know, whatever, a fourth or a third to go back a few rungs, because that's what we have to be in that market, because you pick 44th, and then from 44 to 170 some, you have one pick in between there, and it's 103, 130 picks, man. You get one. So like I want the top 4 in the top 50, but like if we could slide and still have 4 in the top 50, but also not have to wait all that, like, cuz our draft's over, man. If you pick 1 in 130 selections, you might as well say the rest of your picks are special teams. Like you might get a safety or something at 103, but after that, man. So like if you could slide at 16, if you could slide at 2 to like 4 or something, I think the draft has all the makings to be A plus. If you stick and pick everything, I think it still can be, but you gotta draft 4 great guys. I'm just trying to sweeten the pot, but Sadiq, I think he's a great pick. Tough, man, though. If that's all you get is pick 2, Sadiq at tight end, and then, you know, I got to see the whole thing. That's all I'm trying to say, man. Is I don't think they're passing on Lemon or Styles to go Sadiq, and I wouldn't either.
Having a lot of top tier draft capital is like a it's like a really bad vice, because then you also start playing like, well, damn, I got 4 in the first 44. I could get, 6 or 7 in the top 50. Like let's start turning 6 or 7 into 10 in the top 75. So like it gets crazy really quick, because then you start like trading yourself out of just all the people that would have mattered for you anyways. So I always end up having like a strong internal battle with that when I'm like looking at mock drafts and stuff. I'm like, PFF told me they were going to give me 3 first rounders and a third. Like I got to do it.
Well, the other thing is like people want to slide, but like, can't we just slide 1 or 2 picks and sweeten it? Like, remember when we slid from 10 to 11, and we let the Vikings take JJ McCarthy. We got who was it, Olu?
Yep.
And I believe what we netted was like Stiggers and Isaiah Davis. Ultimately, like, bro, that's all I'm talking. Like, that's all I want is a tiny slide somewhere. And I only want it.
A can't miss guy for us to not slide down necessarily. Like Bane, Reese, what's the thing I'm missing?
Bailey.
Like all those 3 people generally considered in the same tier. Like why not? Unless one of the guys' shoulders above the other for you, like why not slide down? You still take the best of the other. You get you a 3rd rounder or something. Like magical situation.
And then, like, even if you miss on all three, you got Tate, you got options, man. It's just like who will come up knowing that you have all those options. If they have all those options as well, I think they would if you're not asking for like a future one to go 2 rungs or something. I think you can make a deal. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously.
Somebody, I'm curious. I'm curious because we were talking about coaching staffs, and now we're kind of in like the whole draft mode right now. I haven't had anybody to really bounce this idea off of, and I haven't hit my boy Gunny about it yet. But so Aaron Glenn, we assume to be taking over the defense. We got Frank Reich, we got Musgrave now, ton of experience on the offense. What is kind of your vision board for how this impacts the draft, right? Like even excluding free agency, is it that Wilkes really poisoned the defensive roster and there was definitely enough talent for us to still succeed there? And so now it's like the Aaron Glenn, the Carl Dunbar effect. Those guys will return like the Jermaine Johnsons of the world that we thought would, be kind of the upper tier guys at their positions. They return back to that under Aaron Glenn. So now it's like, okay, maybe I don't need some of these spots in like the early portions of the draft versus give like Frank Reich and Musgrave and them everything they could possibly get with like most of the premium assets, and Aaron Glenn should be able to coach up the later round guys, right? Where are you kind of falling with that?
Such a tough question. Because it's like doling out blame. I don't think you can pin to one guy. If it was simply play calling, shame on Glenn for not absorbing it sooner. If I will say Jermaine gets a pass from me, and I don't know if everyone will give him a pass, but like first year from Achilles, man, I got to see him one more time. So he, I think will be better this year, just regardless of who's to blame. I think he'll be better. And I think he's almost scheme proof. I think we'll find a role for him and he will perform better. Will McDonald, man, not a pass. Far from a pass. In fact, I'm probably shopping him on day 2 of the draft. And maybe a hot take, but like how much, like you're going to have to pay him soon. And soon also is the time where people aren't going to want to trade for him. So if you're drafting an edge in the top 5, this might be the time, man. I mean, you could keep him as a third edge, and I think he'd be one of the best third edges in the league, but for a team that's not going to compete for the title. So, unfortunately, I think keeping Will McDonald as a third edge this year is a luxury we don't have. But back to your question. Oh, man. Who's to blame? I don't know. I don't even know. Is that the question really? Or is it more so like,
I would say it's like, do you trust Aaron Glenn to take advantage of what was already on the roster and you can use lesser resources for him to build up versus does the offense, because of maybe lack of confidence, require more of those premium investments?
I see. Honestly, how I would approach it if I'm Muji is you should have hopefully a more adaptable defensive mindset system. Like you should be able to just acquire talent and make it work. I'm not saying it's a foolproof plan, but like then last year it did feel like people were painted into pegs and holes, however you want to say it, that they weren't necessarily suited for and just expected to figure it out. And they didn't. They never did. I pray to God that we're better now at just getting talent and just plugging it in. So honestly, I think I try to fill some spots in free agency on defense, known guys, just put them there. and then on offense, give them talent, young, cheap talent to grow and mold. I don't know if I want Glenn molding and growing guys, but I think that he will be better than Wilkes at making known guys have a higher floor, if that makes sense. Because dude, how many injuries did he suffer in Detroit that final year? And he did get a floor. I mean, it wasn't great, but it's one that I would probably sign up for if we had 11 or 12 injuries. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm dodging the question. I don't, but like, as far as acquiring the young talent that needs a careful hand, I lean offense with Reich and Musgrave, and honestly, Seth Ryan. I love that three-headed monster. I do. And I think if someone needs coached up to be valuable, we're more suited to do it on offense. If someone just needs schemed to be okay, I think we're more suited on defense than we were last year. And I think that we would be wise to approach it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a ton of sense. I don't know where I land at with it's generally positive for like the offensive roster construction. I think like the setup of the coaching staff and the three guys that like kind of matter most, Reich, Musgrave, Seth, that is kind of like the same vision I have almost for the quarterback room. Like slap two as legitimate possible veterans in there, and then you can consider having your Ty Simpson or whatever that ends up looking like. And if the rookie wins in that scenario, right, assuming it's legitimate competition and all that, but like if he wins in that scenario, that's a net positive for us. Cool. You probably found you a year one rookie starter, which in itself is a win. And if he doesn't, cool. You have two veterans now that can commit to, letting your flight plan be as less bumpy as possible. And I don't know how that plays out for us, right? Like the year three thinking is so muddled because like if you invest in a quarterback and we never see him and Aaron Glenn leaves anyways, then like what the hell? But I kind of love it. I think I still got to kind of get to like what the plan is, which is why I think we'll probably see a decent amount of like free agent work on the offensive side of the ball more than the defense necessarily. But to be determined, I guess.
I mean, regardless of how you portion the picks or the vets, are you more confident in the offensive coaching staff right now or the defense?
I think it's tough. So offensive line, I think, is legit, which I think gives us as best a shot to try to make something happen as possible. If the trench play is really where it's going to start, then you have one Garrett Wilson, no question marks, one Mason Taylor, which I think people will still be like, maybe solid tight end 2 is his ceiling, right? We'll see. I think he could still be more maybe an average, like lower tier tight end 1. But for whatever purpose, I think legitimate wide receiver 1, legitimate tight end 2 at the least, solid O-line. We'll see what happens with running back. But I would say I'm more bought into what Aaron Glenn can do. If we're getting him and Detroit and what that's supposed to look like, and you legitimately have a lieutenant in Brian Duker, even if we don't love the way that we ended up ultimately acquiring him, he's there with you in Detroit for 3 years, so he knows how you're going to want things coached. You're probably going to get your, Alex Anzalone and stuff like that, and the guys that you should have got last year coming in this year. So, like, I think he's more set up to be able to have the bounce back that you want to see. And I think it's going to require the strong investments on the offensive side of the ball for you to be like, yeah, there's like Aaron Glenn's conversation to me is, yeah, there's a strong chance that he can bounce back. And then Frank Reich's side of the ball is, you need to have the talent question mark solved there in order to say there's a reason. There shouldn't be a reason why he can't have success. So two very different sides of the coin there, but
Uh, s- just segueing to questions from the chat, I did ask for some. JT asks, "What is your reaction if we go with Caleb Downs at 2 overall?"
I love Caleb Downs, and I'm a guy. I don't think Caleb fits this profile necessarily. I don't think he can't be it, but like when I think enforcer, I think of like these will be throwbacks a bit, but like I think of LaRon Landry, I think of like your Brian Dawkins, I think of Ryan Clark. I think of those guys where it's like, well, damn, they'll probably change the rule again because he's flatlining people in legitimate situations, but like I want that kind of player, and I don't know if Caleb Downs is necessarily that, but I also think he's probably the closest thing that we would see again to a Jamal Adams. And when you look at the impact that he had on the defense, that was the last time I can remember legitimate smiles. Like we had people dancing in between, downs, because he was also getting in on like the sack party and stuff. You had the defensive line getting a boost. You had him eliminating like the middle and line of scrimmage parts of the field. And if he had the hands, he would have just been like the perfect combination there. So like I would love him for us. My only issue is I know the value conversations will come into play. Damn, how did you take a safety at 2? And I kind of heard Dom and your guys' thoughts, right? I think I instantly made him like a top 7 pick safety in the NFL or something. All of that stuff doesn't bother me. I know it's probably not prudent, like accounting and value, resource management and stuff, but like get the guys that could be difference makers. And that's what he's going to be, on top of potentially being a playmaker. So, like, if they go that route, I would not blame the pick whatsoever. Because, I mean, I can easily see next year maybe it's Malachi Moore and like Brian Cook as like the safety tandem. And the moment we let some deep touchdowns go or something, it'll be like, well, should have invested in, Ryan
Minka.
Minka. There we go. Yeah. Should have got Minka or somebody like that. So it's like you can never really win, but just get
No.
the guys that are good. Like this is ultimately what the Eagles ended up doing. And I think Howie's probably the guy that he's the closest thing to like a college football landscape in terms of just acquiring guys that he should have no business being able to pick up as their like third and fourth best player at their position on the roster. So get the guys that matter. It'll be another conversation next year. Who's the Caleb Downs there in one of our top 3 picks? So it's like, just get the guys that can be great for us.
I will say, like, I'm not even going to argue against Caleb Downs at 2, because if they take him, I think I think it's a safe pick. I mean, I, is that how big of a difference is there between picking 2 and 5? Like, what? Fuck the money, man. Like, you need a cornerstone guy. If you can get one at 2 or 5, are we really like in the position to judge? The only thing I would say is like, there's 3 defensive ends. Do you think they all 3 pan out? I don't. I bet you one's a bust. Would you rather take a 33% chance that who we take at 2 is a bust, or take Caleb Downs, who might have the highest floor out of anyone in the top 10? Like Dom, I think had him as his first or second best player on the entire board. Most people do. It's either Jeremiah Love or it's Caleb Downs, man. And to squabble over 2 versus 5. Oh, he's okay at 5. He's not okay at 2. I don't know, man. I don't know that we're going to take the right defensive end either. So, like,
Devil's
if
advocate
it,
here, since you threw it out, what
yeah,
would be the difference between trying to grab Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love then, assuming these guys are like 1 and 2?
Whew. Not much, not much. You're talking to a guy who's low on Brees, so not much to me. I need to look at Love more. I will say I can't a lot of people, I mean, not a lot, but there are people who do say take him. No matter when you take him. I'm not there yet, but I got to see him more. Downs, I think, could be a Sonny Styles type, acquisition for us where he could help out 3 or 4 positions, not just one. Um, I think that his impact just like is like, I don't know, like a reverse sponge. He doesn't suck it all in. He like spreads it out. Um, I don't know if Love could do that, but I don't want to, talk too soon. I got to see him more. Is he better than Genty?
Different caliber players, right? Jeremiah is more of like the smooth finesse like type runner if you had to throw him into like a bucket, and then Genty's your power kind of guy. So I think both have all of the athletic traits. Genty would lean more towards power. Jeremiah leads more towards the finesse and like home run kind of situation. And then I think Jeremiah brings more in the receiving end, whereas Ashton Genty was kind of like an unknown just because he wasn't asked to do it a ton. And the pass blocking is maybe a toss up or something like that, right? But I don't know. I heard people say that Jeremiah is probably the best guy to come out since like Saquon, which would include like Ashton Genty and stuff. And then I've heard, he's just in that tier of like your Bijans and your Genties and things of that nature. But
Interesting. I mean, it's worth it. Well, you opened it up. Now I got to throw it at you. What are you doing with Brees Hall, DKB?
I think running back is a situation where things can sour too quickly. And so if I felt strongly that year one was going to be like a drastic improvement, then I keep Brees Hall. Because I think at that point you can make the argument his career arc is maybe like a lesser Alvin Kamara. And then if you're not expecting to make leaps and bounds and you're like, the offense will be serviceable and then we'll keep plugging away, right? We'll get the true quarterback and we'll do all these things. I think at that point, no, reinvest your resources, roll with Braylon Allen, see if he can give you, the RB1 potential, open up the opportunities to my guy, Isaiah Davis, get you another running back to throw in there to try to coach up. And then you make the true reinvestment, next year where maybe it matters less, right? Maybe that third first pick is, 28th or something, and you can still get you a really good guy over there. So I'm not committed to him. I would still rather love to keep him than not. But I also think he's been throwing smoke signals for a while where it's like, if I can get the hell out of here, I'm getting the hell out of here.
If we, I guess less do I care about people's personal choices, whether because a lot of people only want to keep him because they don't want to let him walk for nothing. And that bothers me. Like, let's throw that off the table. What I want to ask is, bro had 250 carries last year. Are you okay with him having 250 more next year?
Yeah, I don't think the volume's the problem. My issue is that, like, when we seen him at his best, he wasn't an efficiency runner. It was like, I can give you the consistent, like 3.5 to 4.5, 3.5 to 4.5 yards per carry. But then also think like the Broncos game. Think some of those where it's like, well, damn, your first carry, you take off to the house for like 63 yards, and then you pick up a couple more chunk gains throughout the game, and you just kind of grinded your way out to, 3 yards on everything else. But it feels like we lost that guy. And that electricity is kind of what you need, at least for the Jets. I don't think we can necessarily get away with just having we almost can't get away with just having skilled players. We do need the full package of like the athleticism has to kind of be upper tier to where when things aren't being executed, it's the player that's bailing you out and it's not necessarily the scheme.
We need instant offense, not like consistent offense. I think to add to what we have. I like it. Well, all I'm trying to say is if we move on from Brees, whatever happens, blah blah blah. Like, can we get a guy that can take the top off? Like Brees, I haven't seen it, man. I haven't. Like 2 years ago, he had one carry more than 30 yards. This year, he had what, two, maybe three? I think one was a catch. Like, he's not the same Brees. And people want to look at his career and the career stats. You can't. You have to delete the first year and a half. That's not the guy we've gotten ever since. Just look at the last two and like 500 carries, man. I don't know anyone else. Like, can we reallocate those carries? I want to see Braylon. I want to see Isaiah. Can we draft a running back? I don't know. Maybe Kenneth Gainwell comes in. Maybe what's the guy from Atlanta? Algier.
Oh yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, like with 500. Like, I would rather have Braylon and Isaiah get 100 apiece and someone else get 200. Then Brees get 250 again, and he's not happy, and he's going to leave anyway. And then the other guys get 70 and 70, and it's like we still don't have shit long term. I don't know. I'm just not higher. I mean, I guess I'm higher on safety than I am on running back, DK.
Yeah, I mean, things have shifted for me in terms of like looking at running backs, where it's like, unless you were in a position and you just took the risk of, being in the top 10 and you had a Bijan or a Saquon or like one of those kind of guys fall to you, or you took the risk of taking them early, and like those guys, you expect the instant success. And when it doesn't happen, like, there's wide eyes is concerned. But when okay, so I guess what I'm trying to get here is most of the NFL is committee based now anyways. And so you kind of have like your bell cow guy, but like really he's taking like 55% of the snaps and the 45 is divvied up between the two other guys. And we're still in this model of being like Brees Hall is, you essentially had to have a top five like running back to want to be like a bell cow guy. And Brees Hall had that potential, but we haven't seen it in 2 years. And so now it's like, we're almost trying to force feed the top five situation as opposed to like him proving it to us. And so I think we're kind of working with damaged goods. Like I don't think the injury thing will be something that prolongs him too much. And I do think, to your point, a lot of the fear is just like, well, damn, he'll leave us and he'll go to the Chiefs and he'll put up, I don't know, 1,200 yards on the ground and 300 on through the air or something crazy, and it'll be like that could have been us. No, it couldn't. It's a completely different environment in the situation going on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think that his demeanor doesn't help things. And I don't know that it'd be one thing if we knew that his demeanor would be perfect if we gave him a long-term deal. If that were the case, I think I do. I think I give him a long-term deal because I don't think it's top 8 money. I think it's 10, top 10, maybe 11, Aaron Jones ish. But like, the demeanor sours me, man. That's just where it was the straw that broke because I was literally 6 months ago or mid-season, like, okay, 10 for 30, or I'm sorry, 3 for 30, 3 for 33 maybe. And then as time progressed, it's just like, man, I'm over it. And I think a lot of people are starting to feel over it, as far as the chat goes and the chats I see. That's projecting. We don't know his demeanor. Dom and I talked about AVT a little bit. We kind of don't know what his wife is saying and what he's saying and what they're thinking. But like, if you have Muji's ear, is AVT a guy that you want to get on a soapbox for? I think a lot of people are saying let him go, but I'm not, and I want your thoughts.
The structure of the contract matters to me more than anything. Like it's easy to throw out there, but like Tyron Smith is what I've really been throwing out, because it's like That's almost exactly what I'm looking for. You either have to do one or two things. I do want to bring him back to answer the question, but it's like it has to be structured one of two ways. You're either coming back on a prove it deal, and I would expect that to be like a moderately generous contract, and it's still not like it's a big guarantee or anything. Or yeah, I'll give you the 3-year extension, but then it's qualifiers everywhere. I'm only paying you for the games you're playing, or it's based on snap count percentage, or something of that effect, to where I can guarantee I'm only giving you the money because you were available to us, and not just here's $14 million because we know you're great when you're on the field, but you never can make it to the field. I don't want to go down that path.
Would you do 2 for 25? He gets 10 guaranteed in year 1, but that's all the guaranteed there is.
2 for 25. You said he's getting how much first year?
Say it's half and half, but 10's guaranteed, but it's all in year 1. So the second year is non-guaranteed. It's basically like a rental, but a team option year 2.
I would jump on that. My only hesitation, and it's funny because it's not like giving them the 3-year, but 2 is guaranteed. It's like much of a difference, but like I don't want to also fall into a trap where you have to give him like 2 big paydays to a certain degree. So I think like your offer is reasonable, and that makes a ton of sense. But you would almost assume, let's say he does stay on the field for that first year and he gets that money and we feel good and he feels good and we take the team option, then it's going to be like, all right, we got to restructure him to kind of do the extension thing. And so now we're going to give him, I don't know, it's going to be, additional 4 years on top of that to put him. What is he right now? He's like 26, right?
I could tell
25,
you.
26.
He is going to turn 27 in June.
Okay.
I like you, man, because you need all the context. Just like you don't just jump to a decision. I like that.
That would kind of change
27.
things a little bit for me.
27.
Yeah, that changes the math just a little bit, because I would almost expect him to get banged up again at some point in like the next year or two. Not season-ending injury stuff, but like you have the career of 4 major injuries now. The year that doesn't rule things out for me, but it's like, okay, something changed, so it's at least worth betting on. But I'm giving you basically a major payday in either a year or 2 years, and you've only given me 1 healthy in return out of 4 or 5, and it's a bit risky. Like my initial.
But what do you need to do? You need to keep him long term? Can't you do 2 years and just draft his replacement?
Here's my like, if I pay him, I don't want it to be because I think I'm gonna need to get his back up in 3 years. Like with him, I still, and that's kind of the problem of just taking like an older rookie, right? But like with the guard situation, because he had a ton of flexibility and things like that, it's like you're gonna lose a lot of that quickly. And so I would love to keep him at guard, but like the hidden value was also that, like, well, damn, all right, if somebody was to go down, I can basically slot him everywhere else, and his athleticism isn't going to keep him, up to par to be able to keep doing that. So you'd be essentially paying him as like a true guard in my mind, and unless he ends up just staying healthy for that actual full contract extension, like I don't know if the return on investment would matter a ton. And you would almost like, I don't know, the recent mock draft I saw taking the Penn State guard, like that would almost even make more sense to me. Give AVT the deal that you're talking about for the 10 million. You have the Iov kid, or however you say it, from Penn State. He either ends up backing him up, or if he wins, then that's still a plus for us because you got a rookie starter and you have a high caliber backup behind him. That would probably be like the way I would look at it. But yeah,
I'm with
I
you.
don't know why I was thinking he was like a year or 2 behind. I don't know if I
Yeah,
would
man.
commit too long term. Like 3 years is probably where I'm maxing out with him.
And I'm with you. I think that he does give value to us considering he's been here. Like he has let us down, but also like we can't promise Membu and Fashanu will stay and play 17 straight next year. We can't promise Tipman will. Dude can play 4 spots. You know, you hopefully can pay him enough to be a fringe starter, not a bona fide. But I think, like Boss Girl says, I don't think you can. If he tests the market for a minute, I think you're screwed. I think you'd have to try to lock it in now. And if I'm to believe Dom and maybe AVT's wife's TikTok, I think that we are not doing that. So odds are he's going to test the market and
What do
probably
we mean by
get something.
screwed though?
What's that?
What do we mean when we say we be screwed though? Like letting him test the
I,
market? Like
w-
he'd
well,
have like a reasonable contract to go to like a great team or something like that? Or are we saying
I think that, or just like maybe, I mean, we have a lot of people who know him out there, like Joe, Bob, uh, Ulbrich. And I'm not saying they'll blow the wheels off of him. I'm just saying, like, maybe they do offer him like 30 over 3, but more guaranteed because they're hoping to get 2 out of 3 years of him, or like, I mean, look at the way Joe Douglas and Howie Roseman structure contracts. They'll find a way to make him way better looking than we do. I mean, the way they structure deals is insane.
I mean,
But
Joe Douglas gotten some flag. Like I know the dead cap hit stuff like coming up now is kind of like what the hell was he doing?
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying they're more creative than I think Muji will be willing to be. That's all. That's all.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me think. I don't know if I'd say that either because I think and again, we're talking about like the prima donna traits here and all that kind of stuff. But like, I think it was really savvy what he pulled out with Sauce Gardner that we found out about, as opposed to like Garrett Wilson's isn't the same way. So it's like we don't have the details up front, but he obviously also kind of has a vision for how do I escape this versus this is a guy we know we're going like all in and fully committing to.
Good point. Good point.
So yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I think ultimately, as long as the deal is reasonable, nobody's going to make a fuss about AVT returning. That's ultimately what it'll come down to. It's not a talent issue; it's just an availability thing. And what kind of dollars do you attach to that?
Tyson chiming in. He says, "All right, nerds, I'm out. If you want to have some fun, come to DKB's Discord. He lives there and is nice. So just know that place does exist. I am in there. Check that out, folks. But in order to do that, you got to check out DKB's YouTube channel, which I am putting down on the bottom of the screen now. You can also find it in the video description. You can click the link. It'll take you straight there. You can subscribe. You can be back here in 3 seconds. Do it. Over 3,000 subscribers. Like I said, killing it. Draft breakdowns, reports, anything you want. DKB, I don't know how much longer I have you. I've had some people wanting the call-in line. I don't know if you have time for a caller or not.
Yes, my man, I will probably as long as the daughter let me sleep good tonight, like I'm gonna be all right. So I'm gonna let this thing ride out until like battery's trying to die, probably.
I do know a guy that would love to chop it up. Maybe he's got something to chime in. Let's give him a minute to join us. But the call-in line's there. Even if you won't make it before DKB leaves, guys, you can still call in and chop it up. I'll be probably till the top of the hour myself.
Daniel's a better individual to talk to, anyways.
I don't know, man. Well, you know what? You're a better monologuer. I'll tell you that. Way better, man. But you've done it probably way more.
I don't know.
Are you at work?
I don't know.
Are you at work typically when you have the headset on?
Yeah, when I do those lives, I'm on like a lunch break. And normally I would work through lunch anyway. So like the time I'm just sick of it, I'm like, let me go talk to my peoples and throw
Dude,
something out
I
there.
like those because I'm often in the office and it's like, man, I need someone to listen to or to chat to, and it's perfect. Perfect. I wish I could do more daytime content, I will say, because there's times when it's like 3 hours and nobody goes live, and it's like, oh man, I could have did an hour, like, uh, uh,
Yeah, man.
dude.
Once I can start being like more connected and stuff, I know that'll liven some things up a lot too. But like my dream at one point again is gonna be like it'll be like me, you, Murph, Gunny, and like somebody else. I'm sure it'll come to top of mind again. But like I kind of miss the like panel live that I used to have with my boy Gunny and Gino, Italy.
Oh my God, man,
Stress
I
out.
miss Italy. I miss
Yeah.
Italy. Dude, I've tried to get a hold of him just to check on him so many times the last 2 years. Italy, it's like, oh man, I hope you're doing good over there, man. Gunny, the man, great guy. Dude, I don't know if you know Jigga Man, um, Kelso. Uh, he got me connected to a lot of those guys, but yeah, the panel streams are nice. They are. But you know what? I teased it. We have a caller. Excuse me. Got the burps, man. Too many PBRs. Uh, let's get to this caller on the line. You know what, DK? I don't know if you know this guy, but if you don't, you're going to meet him now, man. He is chomping at the bit to talk. Let me fix the screen here 1 second. Let's see. Chat off the screen. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 minute. We have a caller on the line by the name of Charles Gorman. Let's bring him
Hey.
out. All right, let's bring him out.
DKB, is that your name? DKB or is it DXB? I forgot. Shit.
You're good. DKB, DK, either one's good. What's going
How
on,
you doing,
man?
my friend? So you still, if you don't mind me asking, you said you used to do gaming on your channel, correct?
I did. I'm pretty sure I never removed the playlist, so they're probably still up there too.
What game did you play on your channel? Madden, just sports games, not like Call of Duty or Halo or stuff like that?
Oh, I was playing. I'm gonna look right now for you, actually. But I was playing whatever. Like I know I had Darksiders up there. I had like uh, I don't know, probably Dragon's Dogma or something up there like that.
Those are very
So
popular games, if my memory serves me correctly. I have a YouTuber myself. I'm sure Dano told you about me. I'm a bit of a YouTuber myself. Last couple of days, I uploaded a couple of videos. Yesterday, I uploaded my stance on Emmett Smith's comments that is he felt that Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, in his eyes, weren't elite quarterbacks. I talked about that on my channel. Then the previous day, I talked about some of my favorite music artists that I love listening to, especially the ones that I love listening to growing up. I did that. And then, of course, I think the other day I talked about, I somewhat defended Tony Romo's legacy as a player, somewhat as well. And some people got some likes on that, so that's a good thing.
you like
But
to live
yeah,
on
that's
the
awesome. What?
You like to live on the edge. Those are very like divisive topics.
Honestly, I want to live on the edge. I just, like to talk about certain things that I find interesting and compelling, and not try to spark too much controversy, but try to give my thoughts and stuff. Plus, sometimes I review movies. Speaking of movies, I finished watching 8 Mile. Great movie, excellent film.
Yes, yes.
I'm not the
DKB.
biggest
Okay,
Eminem
hold on,
fan in the world.
hold on,
I'm not the
hold on,
biggest
hold
rap
on,
fan in the world, even though I
hold
did a
on, hold
rap
on.
video a couple years ago with Nick
Charles,
Cannon.
Charles, hold on, hold on. All right, DKB. This guy, Charles Gorman, has never seen 8 Mile ever. I'm hoping you have, DK.
I'll
But
take you up on that. Yeah, I definitely have.
okay, I said, Charles, man, you have to do me a favor. You have to watch this immediately, and you have to report back here and give us your thoughts on the matter. I mean, he's not a rap guy like you just said. Charles, man, you finally watched the film. that I recommended. I want to hear your thoughts, and then DKB, I want to hear yours as well. Charles, go ahead.
I will say this: the storytelling was outstanding. The direction by Curtis Hanson, was tremendous. I really liked some of the cast members. Rest in peace, Brittany Murphy. But I really liked that I saw Kim Basinger. I remember when I first saw her in Batman 1989, where she played Vicky Vale, one of Batman's most famous and iconic supporting characters, a love interest. I also was great to see Anthony Mackie. If you don't know who Anthony Mackie is, he's a very good actor, in my opinion. He's also well known for playing Sam Wilson in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise. Like him as that character as well. I know this is 24 years late, but I don't care. Better late than never. But yeah, I couldn't watch it in theaters when it came out because I was like underage, so you gotta pardon me. But I watched it on Google Play, and I gotta say this was a really damn good movie. And even though I'm not the biggest rap fan, I know Eminem is a legend and icon in the hip hop rap industry, rap genre. Pardon me. Hip hop rap genre. I know many people regard him as one of, if not the greatest rap artist of all time.
Look at your boots. They're starting to grow roots.
It was a great movie. If I was to give it a grade on a scale from a 1 to a 10, I'll definitely give it a 10. Although I will say this. It's funny they showcase men and women having sex but no nudity. That was funny as hell to me. And if I was to give it on an A+ to a screw you, I give it an A+. It was a well-made, well-shot film. The characterization, the character development, it was well done. You actually felt for Eminem's character in the movie. And it was also, I forgot to mention, Michael Shannon. It was good seeing him in the movie, too. I'm a huge fan of his acting as well. So I was very impressed with this movie. I'm glad you recommended it to me, Dane, excuse me, I keep calling you Dano, my bad. Dane,
No,
it
Dana.
was a great freaking movie, man. It still does not surpass the greatness, that is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man from 2002.
Oh boy.
It's still a great movie. I mean, if you don't know DKB, I haven't told many people this, but a couple of years ago, I met one of my favorite directors, Sam Raimi, at a Monster Mania convention in Cherry Hill, New Jersey on March 10th, along with legendary actor and voice actor Michael Ironside. What happened?
Speak on it, DK.
I'm a bit of a movie nerd too, so I do love me some good directors. But anytime anybody mentions meeting someone that I can get excited about in Jersey, because I haven't been back home in so long, it's like someone.
Yeah, you said you were from New Jersey. Glad to hear talking from a fellow Jersey man. Excuse me.
Yeah,
but it was great meeting Sam Raimi. It was also awesome meeting Michael Ironside. They were both very humble, very polite towards me. It was a very awesome experience. But yeah, Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors. Been a fan of him since childhood. Love his Spider-Man movies. Love his Spider-Man trilogy still to this day. But yeah, I loved the movie 8 Mile. I thought it was a great movie. It was well shot, well made. Although there was certain parts in the movie where I did get a bit emotional. And I was like, please, Lord, don't let one.
Hey, Charles, it wasn't the part where Eminem pulled down his pants and showed his butt crack.
Oh, that was one of the best parts of the movie. That was one of the funniest and one of the best parts. No, it wasn't that. It was a part where his mother and him were arguing. It was the part where his little baby sister, who I thought was such a doll in that movie. His little sister Lily was such a cutie pie in that movie. And when the gamers drove to his house, I'm like, don't tell me they're going to kill his fucking sister. If they do, I'm going to fucking drop dead crying. And thank God they didn't. They beat him up, but they didn't go after his sister. Thank the Lord in heaven. And I will say, Kim Basinger, I think, is a tremendous actress. And you want to talk about an attractive woman, she's nothing short of beautiful, in my opinion. And she played an alcoholic mother in the movie. And you know that Michael Shannon played her douchebag boyfriend,
Greg Buell.
Huh?
Oh, my name is Jimmy. His name is Greg Buell. Me, him, and you, we went to the same school. This ain't cool.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that was the scene in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the movie was excellent, man. It was well shot, well choreographed. It was a damn good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I give it an A+ and a 10 out of 10. It was that damn good.
If you
It
could
was
say one thing, to Free World, what would it be?
fuck you. We live in the free world. You ain't the free world. This is the free world, motherfucker. But yeah, man. But also, I also review video games from time to time. I also review comic books from time to time, TV shows from time to time. One of the last videos I did was I listed off. Hopefully this becomes an annual thing here on my channel every February. Since you know February is Black History Month, I decided to talk about some of my favorite Black heroes and characters across not only comics but fiction in general. And the first Black character I talked about was Luke Cage. And yes, I love this Netflix series. I thought Michael Coulter did a hell of a job with that character. But funny enough, you may laugh your butt off. There was a period of time where I thought James Harrison would have been a good Luke Cage.
Yeah, no, I can see that 100%. Yeah, he's different.
James Harrison was a beast, man. I mean, remember that commercial? I don't know if it's still going on, but you might be on YouTube, where the narrator goes, "If he doesn't tackle you, he doesn't get paid," and he just destroys that nerd, destroys that guy. James Harrison was a beast in his prime. He kept himself in great shape. That's one thing I admire about James. That he kept himself in tremendous physical condition. He was an animal, bro. Even Damian Woody, Jet legend, Patriot legend, Lion legend. He was a fucking beast in his prime. And so, yeah, man, I mean, it was a great movie. Thank you for recommending me, Dane. I appreciate it, my man. There's a couple movies I really want to – there's a lot of movies I really want to see. One of the movies I really want to watch, you may have heard of this actor, Robert Redford. He was a legendary actor. The first movie I saw him in was, in my opinion, the greatest Captain America movie of all time, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, back in 2014, where he played the main antagonist, Alexander Pierce. He was wonderful in that movie. But the one, I know he did a lot of movies like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Paul Newman. But the one movie he did that really, from what I've seen the clips on YouTube, that really got my attention was The Natural. It was from back in the 1980s. The 1980s. It's a baseball movie. I'm a huge baseball fan. I know this is a football channel, but baseball is my favorite sport to watch. I know, boo, screw Charles, boo. Why you say
I think there's a
baseball
lot
when
of
it's a
that.
foot?
I
Huh?
hear a lot of the content creators are like strong, like baseball fans. I never got into it. Like I like playing the sport, but I could never like
No,
just sit
that's
and
fine,
watch.
man. Hey, no harm, no foul, baby. That's fine. Happy Eddie McGuire to the Naturals and masterpiece. It looks like that to me, man. It's got
Charles,
Kim Basinger. It's got oh god, it's got Glenn Close.
Charles. Let me pass the mic real quick to DK. I want his thoughts on Charles' assessment of seeing 8 Mile for the first time and anything else he wants to add about your call so far. Let's give him a minute to talk and then we'll get back to you, brother.
No problem, man.
Yeah, man, I really enjoy it. So like 8 Mile, I'm trying to think how old I was when like that even came out, right? I'm like
I know you
maybe
guys are older than me, so don't mind me. I'm 31,
sophomore
by
high
the way.
school, maybe.
Damn. Charles
Are
calling
you?
us old. Damn.
Well, you were born in 88. You're 6 years older than my age. You're like 37, 38. I'm freaking 31, so don't talk shit, man.
All right. DK, go ahead, brother.
That's funny. Um, yeah, I'm probably like early high school days, something like that. But like 8 Mile, I I think I first seen 8 Mile like I must have been doing homework or something like that, and I just had like stuff playing in the background. And I remember kept like looking over and like actually tuning in for portions of the time. And I had to wrap my homework, and I like made a note like go back and check this movie out. I think I went back and watched it later that night, and I was just like, oh, this is. And it's probably around the same time too that like I wasn't the biggest Eminem fan, but like the stuff I would hear, I was like, okay, this is good. I don't know if I'll seek you out, but like when it plays, I'm locked in. And I remember just like binging on that movie at one point for like a month straight after I seen it for that night. So I was like, oh, this is just great. I ended up knowing all the lines off the top of my head. So I'd be walking around school just like randomly spouting crap out. And it'd be like the people that were in the know, it turns into a whole big conversation. The ones that didn't, it was just kind of like, huh? And then I'm like, oh, let me explain to you what I just saw and the greatness that's about to change your life. Um, yeah, it was one of the more well done movies that I've ever seen at that time, and it's definitely still in like my like top tier bucket list of things to like put people on to whenever I hear that they haven't seen it or anything of that nature. Because you could take the whole rap piece out of it, like it's almost a movie in and of itself, even without having those components to it, and it's still just as awesome as anything else that's out there.
DK, you started to say something about a director, and then Charles got cooking. Was there something you wanted to add? I know he mentioned a director that maybe caught your eye. What was that?
Yeah, he was talking about Michael and his visit in Jersey. And I got jealous. I think that's all that was for a minute because I never get to meet any of the guys. I'm aware of most of like the directors from like 90s plus onward that have done really, really well for themselves. But like just in general, every time I happen to be on a live stream or I'm in some kind of situation where somebody's like, I met so and so, it's someone that I actually am aware of and would care about. And two, it always ends up being in Jersey somehow. And I'm like, y'all just I can't go home and meet anybody. You guys are just out here living the best of lives.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, DKB, this upcoming July, from July 16th to July 19th, I will be going to Connecticut, where I will meet one of my favorite voice actors of all time, Steve Bloom.
Meet him while you can. We have a lot of people dropping like flies these days. It's insane.
Yeah,
So
meet him.
true.
Like this Connecticut, he's going to be there in person.
No, yeah,
That's
that
fire.
like he's right. He's right though, man. Like how many actors have died this week already? I mean, we
Robert
had a
Duvall, may his soul rest in peace. Like, you know what I mean? Eric Dane, the guy
dude,
that
and
played Multiple Man in X-Men 3:
dude,
The Last Stand, which I remember. I'm like, who the hell's Eric Dane? Then all of a sudden I go on Instagram and people, all of these big time celebrities, are wishing his family the best of their blessings.
dude,
And all of a sudden I see a clip of X-Men 3: The Last Stand where he plays Multiple Man. I'm like, oh, I remember that guy. I
you
remember him
better,
now.
Charles, you better know all the Danes. Come on, bro.
There's only one great Dane, and that's Scooby Dooby Doo.
But he's right, man. Meet them all. Go meet them, man. July. That sounds really
And
fun.
spoiler alert: I will be wearing a superhero-like costume that relates to a character that Steve Blum has voiced throughout the years.
It's not Catwoman, right?
Yeah, Steve Blum voiced a woman. Come on, man. What's wrong with you? But then again, Ed Asner did voice Granny Goodness in Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, and Superman Batman Apocalypse. All of which were great shit. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was fucking awkward. Like, I love Ed Asner. He was a great actor. Man, his soul recipe. But the fact that he voiced a woman, it's like, fuck. But
Do
yeah,
you I know you said you do a lot of the content, right? Do you do content when you do these like con events and stuff?
I don't go to I went to a comic book like event a couple of months ago, which I got massive criticized for when I went on the Jake Asman show for some oddball reason. It was a kind of comic book like convention in the Woodbridge Mall. I live in Woodbridge Township, New Jersey, and we went there, and I got, hold on one second. One of the things I got was this bad boy right here.
Oh, that's fire.
Todd McFarlane, one of the goats.
Wait. What is that exactly though? Is that like a mat?
Yeah, it's a Mac. Yes.
Mm.
It only cost me about $30. It's great. I love it. Big Spider-Man fan, as you all know. And Todd McFarlane is one of my favorite artists. As a matter of fact, I think he finished filming, or at least finished coming up with the script for his upcoming Spawn movie, which will feature Jamie Foxx as the character.
I've been
Fingers
waiting
crossed
for that remake for so long.
Did you watch the animated series?
Yeah.
I think it's still on HBO Max. It better freaking be because they took so much shit off HBO Max. It's disgusting. But yeah, man, I can't wait for that movie to come out. I love Tom
Spawn's gonna be
DeFalco. He's one of
fire.
my
I don't
favorites.
go to the movie theaters too often, but like when Spawn comes out, I'm in there.
I'm a huge Spawn fan. One of my favorite anti-heroes, and he's a really damn good character. I'll never get watching this one scene from the animated series where this dude was going after his wife, and he picked up a guy and he yanked his arm off, one of his arms like it was string cheese, and the guy was scared. He walks over to his detached arm, grabs the gun with his other hand, and blows his brains out.
I'm trying to think from the
censor.
movie. I'm trying to remember exactly how it went, but like somebody was getting ready to kick him the balls or something, and he has like the little grips that comes out and like grabs him by the leg, and like I think it like rips out part of the dude's stomach or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, Spawn's different.
Yeah, Spawn don't play. He's not like Superman or Batman where like, okay, you're going to jail, you're going to learn your pen. Spawn's like, no, you mess with me, you got problems. He don't play. He don't play them games.
There's no rehabilitation in his world.
Exactly. What I'm going to say to you is that I remember you talking about Alshon Jeffrey. He was one of my favorite receivers back in the 2010s, excuse me. I'll never forget his breakout season in 2013 with the Bears, where he and Brandon Marshall were at that time one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. They were cooking defenses that year. And then he goes to the Eagles, helps them win the Super Bowl, has a couple of good more years before injuries destroyed his career. So he was a good receiver. Mike Evans is great. I'm a huge Mike Evans fan. He had great chemistry with Tom Brady. He had great chemistry with Jameis Winston. He even had good chemistry with Fitzpatrick for a while. He even had good chemistry with what's his name, Josh McCown for a while as well. Yeah, and he even had good chemistry with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Josh McCown was our quarterback for a while too. Yeah.
What did you guys think of Jay Cutler?
Fuck him. He was a lazy motherfucker. I mean, this guy set the Bears back. I'll never forget when he got that big ass contract. And I'm texting my friend Colin, who's not really a big sports fan. I said, Colin, I feel insulted. He goes, why? Because Jay Cutler got this big ass contract. And this was me, who still inspires to get a job, who still wants to work for a living. And Jay Cutler, who to me was the laziest motherfucker to ever play the quarterback position. This guy had the arm, he had the size, he had the mobility, yet he's a lazy fuck. And this guy got a big ass contract from the Bears. I'm like, so you basically got paid to be a lazy fuck. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I don't want nothing to do with you. You got guys like freaking Brandon Marshall. You got guys like Martellus Bennett. You had guys like, I was a huge fan of this brother, Matt Forte, who was one of the best running backs of his era. I know in his 2 years with the Jets, he was injured a lot, but when he played, he was special. So, sorry, Yeti, but I had to get it off my chest. Screw Jay Cutler, man. I never liked the dude. Even when he was in Denver, I wasn't his biggest fan. Hi, Hazel. How you doing?
Charles, there's one thing you don't do, and that's shy away from your truth, and I love that.
You know what? I mean, people want to give Eli shit. Jay Cutler, at least Eli gave a crap. This guy didn't even give a fuck. Like, you're being paid to the Bears. Let me tell you something about the Bears. I don't know that everyone's a Bears fan, but just bear with me. No,
the Indiana Bears?
No, the Chicago Bears.
They're potentially moving, is what he's saying.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard, too. I don't think that shit's going to happen. But we shall see. The Chicago Bears.
Indiana Bears.
The Indiana Bears. No, it wouldn't sound right to me. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's happening, bro. It's happening, but go ahead.
The Chicago Bears, for now, the Chicago Bears, are one of the most historic franchises in all of professional sports. They have more Pro Football Hall of Famers than any other NFL franchise in the history of the NFL. Yes, I know. I don't have a job, but I'm working towards it. What was I going with this before someone interrupted my ass? Oh, yeah, there we go. They're sold to this guy for being lazy. The Bears were known for their toughness, their grit, their hard work, blue-collar mentality. I remember my dad talking about how much of a beast Dick Butkus was in his day. Like, the Bears during his tenure were not a very good team often. In 1969, the Bears won one lousy game. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Dick Butkus was such an animal that year, he won defensive MVP. The Bears were known for their hard work, their blue-collar attitude, their determination, their work, the whole 9 yards. And this guy, who's supposed to be – also, the Bears haven't had much luck with quarterbacks in a long time. They haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback since Sid Luckman, which was way before any of our times. And this guy comes in and sets them back. Then they get Mitch Trubisky, which sent them back even further. Then they got Justin Fields, and that set them back even further. Hopefully Caleb Williams turns back the dial.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
yeah, man, I was disgusted with Jay Cutler, man. I was like, fuck this guy. And when he went to the Dolphins, I was like,
oh, dude, I forgot that even happened. I'm not gonna
oh, it
lie.
happened, bro. Guess who was the head coach?
Who?
Adam freaking Gase.
Adam Gase. DKB. I gotta pass the mic to you. Charles, allow DKB one moment. I want to see if he has a jet-related question for Mr. Gorman, who, mind you, dabbled with the Colts this year, but he's back
I
on the
wasn't
Jets
with my
wagon.
head.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying he has a little insight on Sauce, on Daniel Jones, on Tyler Warren, but he's also born and bred Jets guy. He knows a little Giants stuff. Can you pose a question for him maybe to get him back on track?
Yeah, let's roll with something. What do we got? Okay, I think I got a decent one. We can expand this to just a larger group. What is the position that you think we can make the biggest impact on, or like what is the position that will we'd see the biggest impact or benefit from adding a piece to free agency, draft, whatever your flavor is, trade? What would that look like for you outside of quarterback, of course?
I'd say outside of quarterback, receiver, running back, and tight end, to me, it all starts with the offensive line. I mean, we got two very good bookend tackles in Fashanu and Membu. We have a really good guard/center in Tippmann, even though he played guard this past season. We still need a legitimate center, and we need a left guard. I know I like John Simpson, but he took a step back this past year. So I would like a replacement. I know there are Jet fans that want AVT back, but I don't think he's coming back. I think he's going somewhere else. I like AVT as a player, as a person, but he's been often injured throughout his career. So let's see what the hell happens. No, he could have the AVT type year where his first year with the team, where his first year with a new team, he wins the whole thing. We shall see. But with that being said, he's been often injured. Same with Mekhi Becton, right? The guy was a tremendous talent, bit of a head case, but he was a tremendous talent. And when he went to the Eagles, when they put him at guard, they won the whole thing. So I can definitely see AVT reuniting with Mekhi Becton with the Chargers.
Charles, what position would you target to make the biggest impact outside of QB?
Right now, I say center. I don't think we're going to get Tyler Linderbaum
back.
Hmm?
You don't think Tippmann's making a move back?
I think he should. I think he definitely should. I liked him as center. I know people said, oh, there were times where he was inconsistent with the snaps. Nick Mangold had some snap issues at times. No center is ever perfect. But he was an excellent in pass protection and in run blocking. And I'd say Tippett should make the transition back to center. That's just the way I feel. But with that the case, I think we should make the biggest impact at guard. Who's going to be our left guard? Who's going to be our right guard? That's all I have.
I'm not mad at it. I don't know if it's interesting. I don't know how many people actually Like the offensive line conversation doesn't come up a ton. Like when I hear people just thinking about additions to the team overall, it's kind of just like, we got 4 of the 5 pieces. The one that's fallen off, generally Simpson. We can live with it. Bring him back, replace him. Doesn't matter. We should be good. And like I don't hear really any conversations around the depth pieces or really trying to continue to see if there's an easy path to upgrade the old line.
I understand, but I don't think we should just forget about the offensive line because I've always said this for years. You need a good offensive line. People say the quarterback's the most important position. Well, just as important as a quarterback is a good offensive line. I mean, you spoke about Ashton Genty, right? Ashton Genty's a talented running back, but what helped hurt him this year was that the Raiders had one of, if not the worst offensive line in football. They sucked in run blocking. They sucked in pass protection, and it somewhat hurt his production. So if you want success, you got to have a good offensive line. Yes, you got to have a quarterback to distribute the ball to the playmakers. But to help you sustain drives, you got to have a good offensive line because it all starts in the trenches.
So what you're telling us, Charles, is you want to strengthen a strength, right?
You obviously you want to improve your weakness, but you got to improve. You got to strengthen your strength. Is correct.
Yeah, look at that. I served it right up for you. I like it.
I'm actually
DKB,
good right now. I'm actually done right now. My phone's low on battery. It was great talking with you. Dan, it was a pleasure. DKB, it was a pleasure meeting you. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later.
See you,
Enjoy
buddy.
the rest of the night, my man.
You too.
Later, Charles.
What a legend.
Dude, a legend indeed. Just wait till you open the StreamYard caller link on your live streams, brother. You will get the legends indeed. No, that was honestly, like, jokes aside, man. Charles knows ball. He just sometimes gets sidetracked by the chat. What I will say is that movie review was not what I was expecting because I mean, I know 8 Mile is a great film, but also Charles is anti-rap, so I was not sure how that would go. But
He's I'm gonna have to tap into the content. Like for one, I just off the top of my mind, like his memory recall is insane because he was just spewing off facts and timelines like it was nothing. But you can obviously tell that like it's one thing when you get into the content creation space and it's like cool, maybe I have a subject I love and all these other things, but it's still like, how do you formulate the topics and like how do you actually speak to something for, whatever duration of time and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, clearly he's kind of like a hidden master of his craft already.
dude, yeah, he's got the Marvel stuff. Dude, if we got him on Marvel, we would have never like the Luke Cage. We got a nugget of Luke Cage, but if we didn't dial that back, we would have been there. But dude, Luke Cage also, I agree with him, was a fantastic series. I don't know if you've
I have
watched
to
it.
catch up with that one.
Dude,
I
it's
got like 2 or 3 episodes in, and I was like just playing it in the background, and I was like, oh, I think I'll love this, but I need to actually be able to watch it.
It's good. They might do a spinoff or something too, so it's worth getting, on track with. DKB, man, dude, we're late night owls. I'm winding down myself, but I don't want to keep you past, what you're willing to do. Let me ask you, like, I mean, it's December 20th. We got the combine next week. I guess let me start there. Maybe I have one final question for you on the other side, but like, going into the combine, what are you looking for? Like, what, you're a creator. What is what you're looking for at the combine? Maybe more educated than it would have been in 2020 when you started, or like, what advice could you give the more novice viewer for the combine?
Yeah, I think yeah, there's a few things, right? And I just kind of piece this together from like listening to some of like the insiders and analysts, honestly, listening to a lot of like our content creators, because I think overall, like the fan base and like content creation team, we just also happen to be super knowledgeable because we're like dedicated to wanting to tap into the NFL universe. Um, so some of the things that jump to my mind, the combine, like don't get so attached with like all the numbers and stuff that come out. Like having the Xavier Worthy 422 guy, like how most of those guys turned out, for example, right? Like all of that, like some of those things are nice, and it's cool because I like that those events do for guys that do really well in that regard. It could put new names on your radar, and so just that whole experience is kind of fun. But don't get too like encapsulated with the numbers for one. Two, a lot of it is really the hidden behind the scenes stuff. So like the medical checks, and what that really means for like crossing guys off your boards or seeing somebody really fall below. And then for me, I like watching the drills a lot more than anything else because like you can kind of see like you can almost really see like who are some of the true like I don't know what kind of like terminology I want to put to it, but like the footballers, like the guys that are really just kind of like insane about football. You can kind of see some of that passion and like the guys that are really
Fluidity,
stuff
like
like that.
fluidity,
Yeah,
and like
100%. 100%. The movements you can tell. So like like I think last year is like a really good one, right? Like quarterback situation. Obviously, we had a lot of guys that sat out. With I was going to say Caleb Williams, but like we had a lot of guys sit out of that particular draft, and so you had like the one video that kept circulating was Tyler Shug doing like this weird like flinging like like no look flinging passing that like completely sailed past the receiver, and that was the one thing that was getting like clipped and reshown, and it was like the full body of work still put him in the general vicinity of where like he was getting drafted. So um just little small kind of nuanced things like that where I might have already done like a full mock-up for a video I want to do, and I might hold off for the combine specifically just because it's like there might be a note or two in there that I find really important or something that happened to have caught my eye, and maybe I want to go back and kind of confirm some stuff. But um, it's just a fun experience overall. Like I don't really sit there and like try to build out what like a week's worth of content or anything will look like around the combine itself. It's just more of here's some notable things, like maybe here's some new names that I'm gonna have out there that I'm gonna take a look at, and kind of different elements like that. But also like the storylines that we get, right? It's the convulsion of all the NFL people. So it's like, oh, Darren Muji was talking to like these seven people or these players, or these rumors come out. We met with these agents for extension. So it's kind of that stuff is a little bit more intriguing to me than necessarily having to talk about like 40 times and stuff like that.
do you think that there's a chance we meet with Jermaine's agent, or do you think that that's resigned to putting him into a contract year that he has to perform in?
I think it would be smart to at least speak with the agent. Doesn't mean we need to commit to anything, but like so when we also look at like the premium positions as we call it, I think it would make sense that to me, there's not a world where Jermaine Johnson is like really falling off a cliff, right? Like even last year, it was he had a couple moments of impact, but just coming off of the Achilles stuff and a lot of legitimate reasons that you can say, okay, here's the step back. But ultimately, he was still kind of like an average to plus run defender. And the pass rush just wasn't quite at the, 7.5 sacks or, 60 plus pressures that we saw from the year before. But it's not like he fell completely off a cliff. So it's like he's gonna come back healthy. He's the kind of guy that has that like internal furnace, like motivation furnace to where it's like, oh, okay, they thought I was crap last year. MVP season, right? Like something stupid like that that'll happen. So I almost think it's even smarter to have the extension talks now and you potentially buy low on him and get all of the benefits of him bouncing back and rewarding you and all that kind of stuff.
I'm with you. I mean, I may not, I don't know if I'll get to talk to you or not, but like right after the draft, right after, we'll have to decide, do we want to lock Will McDonald into his 5th-year option? Is that something you can forecast now? What would you do?
I think the draft is going to dictate most of that, right? So like my thought process goes to when you hear people talk about Will McDonald, like Connor Rogers is probably the name that I like tend to trust the most in like that Jets universe sphere outside of maybe like Bart Scott. But for like the non-former player guy, Connor Rogers is kind of the guy for me. So when I hear him talk about it, and then I also happen to see like your Todd McShays and all those kind of people talking about him, they speak about him the way that everybody's stuff. And Bryce Huff had that very specialized role. It was just pass rush opportunities. And like legitimately, it's an edge 3 role is really what people are talking about. But you hope to be in the situation to where you're kind of having him in like a full-time position. That isn't like 5th-year option worthy to me. I think there's spaces where that can make a ton of sense, but I don't expect that we'll be in situations where we're up consistently, and so it makes sense. And it's a lot because who's coming up? We is the 23 million 5th option. Is that McDonald or is that somebody else I'm thinking of?
I think this is like 15 for him.
That seems low for Edge.
Well, for edge, but draft. Well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the number I heard was 15ish. Let me see if I can find it though.
I'm gonna look. I think I'm thinking of somebody else that I remember talking recently. And I'm thinking of Anthony Richardson because I did a recent video.
Okay,
His option is
for
like 23 million for that 5th year.
for Will
Uh,
McDonald, it would be 14.9 guaranteed.
I mean, it's not the craziest thing, but okay. So I'll flip this to you real quick. Do you think he's kind of either is or has the potential to be a guaranteed double-digit sack guy?
I think he could get there. I just don't like. I don't like his floor. I like his ceiling. I don't like his floor. I personally would not pick up the 5th-year option. Again, I also stated on this episode that I would shop him, and I think I still would. But like, I think I put him into a contract year, and I see what he's forced to do with his back up against the wall. But I also acknowledge that if I do that, and if I don't iron something out with Jermaine's agent during the combine, that I'm trotting out a defensive line this year that has Jermaine, Jawan, Harrison, and Will McDonald all in contract years. And that scares me, but that also intrigues me because like we have to decide what this D-line is going to be long term. We're also going to get Carl Dunbar to decide it. That intrigues me. It scares me, but it intrigues me. So, whew, man, I don't know because you're drafting a defensive end 2nd overall. What, 60% likely, 70, 80% likely, 100% likely. Maybe if you're doing that, maybe if you take an edge and they're penciled in on the edge, I don't know if Reese is, but like penciled in on the edge, maybe you do and say, hey, the rest of you guys have to figure out. You got 4 people, you got 3 seats. Let's see what you can do. But if you don't take an edge at 2, suddenly that's more scary than it is intriguing because then it's like, I don't know, man. All I'm trying to say is like, I don't know if people realize there's a world in 3 months where the whole D-line is not locked in long term. They're all rentals.
It's
I don't know,
scary.
man.
I know like the Browns is a good comp for the inverse because their whole O line could potentially leave like this free agency, which is wild. But The thing that gives me hesitancy, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I think Will McDonald obviously he's done it already, right? But I think he has the double digit sack potential. I did see something about him looking to stack on more weight again to kind of hit that 250, 255-ish range. And I think he already had like the like elite athleticism to where even if he packs on the weight, then you take him from being like a different athletic prospect for his position to being like maybe above average instead of elite. But also, I don't know if he necessarily has like the mindset to pick up the run stopping stuff in the way that it even matters for him, right? It's almost better to just commit him to being a pure pass rush specialist. And so there's a world where you still pay valuable dollars for that, even if he is technically an edge three. But it would almost be that you have to have him undo his entire development process so far of kind of building on the way to be on the D line and do all this kind of stuff. So it's like you screw yourself over for the plan that you were trying to commit to, as opposed to just kind of continuing to push the chips forward and say, okay, can he actually get better at run defense with this weight? And what does that look like? And did that strip his pass rush ability? Um, but yeah, I think things will end up running its course, whether we pick up the 5th-year option or just like let him walk and it turns into a comp pick or something, which sucks. Um, but I just think with the potential change in strategy and everything, it's going to be hard to make that work long term. I just trust Jermaine Johnson more as a natural fit, whether we do a 4-3 or a 3-4, or he's just going to accomplish the task to me better than what Will McDonald be able to do.
I toy with extending Jermaine now because I assume, and it could be wrong, but I assume that the value is lower than it ever will be again.
I agree.
And I think that I'm willing to make that risk. I do that, and I draft an edge, and then McDonald, like happy Eddie McGuire. Do I flip? I mean, if Salah's given pick 66, I might. But also, I might say, hey, Will, you're now edge 3. Like DKB says, is probably best. Let's do that for a year. Let's see what you got. Can you produce like Bryce Huff as an edge, a situational pass rusher? Let's play out that 4th year. And then let's either go to the table or we let you walk and we get that 3rd anyway. But it won't be a pick 66, but like we'll get a year of you and then it'll be picked 90 or 100. But Jermaine, I think the time is now to negotiate if you trust that he's gonna get better than he was last year, and I do. I trust it.
I love him, man.
He's
He's
my
so
favorite player.
yeah, when the talks of the draft were like take him at 4, I was like, I hate it. Like I don't like it didn't make sense to me at 4 as like a can't miss kind of guy when you want to talk about like a top 5 pick. But like when we got him where we did in the late first, I was like, beautiful. This is a much better situation for him now, and you don't have to have the pressure of the top 5 status and coming out and immediately being great and elite and all this kind of stuff. But he he is a guy that transcends like the general Jets culture and or whoever like his head coach is. Like he's gonna be that glue guy and one of the top 3 most impactful like Jets on a roster in any given year, kind of regardless of what the stats say. Like he's going to keep the locker room in check. He's going to be on the defensive line that's like we're not pointing fingers. If you didn't win your one-on-ones this week to help us out, that's a you problem. We're going to get in the film. We're going to figure it out. We're going to get on the field. We're going to get these techniques ironed out. And so like him and Carl Dunbar in my head, I'm like, this is absolute theater for us right now. We're going to be in for something like sick this year. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely fully for it. I don't know what the contract will look like, to be honest. I don't know if you kind of have projections or if you've seen anything, but
I don't even want to take them because like how do you not apply the I don't know if they've applied context, but it's like this D line last year, like you almost have to see him with Dunbar to know.
Hmm.
And that's why like I think Jermaine's the only guy I'm willing to jump on ahead of time because I think he's only going to be better. But like Will McDonald, I don't know, man. He could be buried on the depth chart in 3 months. You
Yeah.
know, for all we know, we sign and Quiddy pay from the Colts, and we draft Reese, and all of a sudden Will's like fourth fiddle. I don't know, man. So it's a little early. I hope we can get you back here a little later this spring, man, because I think there's just so much on meat on the bone to discuss. That I hope that the timing works out for both of us. But dude, it's very hard to project things like this now because, like, dude, who knows, man? We got 100, we got 80 million, we'll say. We got multiple top 100 picks, however you want to slice them. We got we changed over what 90% of the staff. We're about to change over 60-70% of the roster. Like,
I think
dude,
so.
dude,
We led the league last year, turning over like I think it was like 56 or 59% of the roster or something like that.
you know
Uh,
what we didn't you know what we didn't turn over?
win total.
Or the ball.
Oh
The
Lord, man, I that still makes me a little nervous. Like I think Aaron Glenn's direction, like that'll change things. Just because schematically they'll be in better positions, but like I'm gonna be on like eggshells until like week 3 when we probably get like the first interception or something, and finally can just like breathe a sigh of relief.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
it'll
like
come in like a Jets way. It'll be like Jawan Briggs like gets an interception off a deflection or something.
you know what, Jawan Briggs, restricted free agent. We have to bring him back, right? Like, have to.
The defensive line situation, if you take like contract stuff out of it, I think is better than what people really make it out to be. So Jawan Briggs, uh, I hate the stat watching kind of like stuff. So I hate like speaking the metrics like first as opposed to like what's happening on the field. But like for the numbers that matter, objectively speaking, Jawan Briggs was a top 5 DT last year for the most part, and like I remember the X Factor articles coming out, and it was like, okay, he's been elite, but will he keep it up? And then it was like 6 weeks into acquiring him, and it was like, oh no, he's keeping it up, but there's got to be a fall off at some point, and the fall off never happened. And then it was like, I, I'm really excited for one about having Jawan Briggs. Now, I'm not saying he's a true like Quentin Williams replacement, but you also can't rule out that that's not going to be a thing because he was killing it in the pass game and in the run game. So it's like y- he legitimately might be a true replacement for Quentin Williams. Is ultimately what it comes down to, and it's cost us what a fifth round pick swap or something like that. Like
Pretty much. So to be clear, you're not on the Peter Woods at 16 train.
no, not even. So Peter Woods is interesting to me only because I know there's a ton of hype around him being like this top 5 pick. And like even earlier into the offseason, I think maybe at worst it dropped into like, oh, he'll be like a top 10, top 15 guy. But now I'm seeing stuff where it's like he's surviving into like the first 10 picks of like the second round, for example. So I'm like, if he makes it there, I think it's a no-brainer shot to take. But I don't think the performance and like the lack of similar numbers is the true reason for his drop. I'm imagining there's probably like effort concerns or like off the field drama that's causing a lot of that. So if it's that, he's not even on my radar. But if it's really just like he was putting up insane numbers to be a defensive tackle and he just didn't do that same thing again this year, I'm still kind of bought into what that might look like for us, but I don't think you need him, honestly, at the end of the day, if Jawan Briggs is who I think he is. Um, it,
And cheap to retain as well. I believe with him being restricted, I've seen things that would say we can get him back for $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah, I think like 2.3 million or something is what I saw like last, maybe a couple months back. Because I think we have access to a few different ways to like tag him. It's like we can do the like original round tender or something like that, or something of those sorts, where I know we're not really exceeding like $3 million to keep him back on the books. Um, but $3 million to get top five like DT performances is that's money.
It is. And it's one less hole to look at, come free agency, come the draft. He's young. And yeah, if you look at PFF, he graded out as like a 90, like, which is insane. Dude, you don't even need the eye test when it's that good, like so good. But the eye test told us that long before it just the metrics backed it up, which is cool. Um, guys, as you see here, DKB's channel, man, check that out. DKB, I hope you got a couple subscribers tonight. Let me know if you did, man. I hope so. Is there any final thoughts you want to add to the audience? We still have 21 here in various places watching. We spoke about a lot, so if you have nothing to add, that's fine. But like, any final message, and then maybe what you got cooking the next month or two.
Um, yeah, let me think. Let me think. Well, I guess first and foremost, appreciate the plugs, by the way. Dano is always our host and as Xfinity across just like any content creator for Jetsland ends up being fire. So I appreciate you guys having me. Definitely looking forward to catching back up when we'll have like Murph too. Um, what was
Maybe
I
maybe don't let go of the rope. Is that where you're going?
I think more buckle up and continue to get ready for a ride. um, yeah, no, appreciate the invite. Appreciate you hosting. I did check. I did crack the 30-30 barrier, so getting close to 3,050 now. But in
My
terms of
man.
final thoughts, you have something?
No, I just said my man.
We we need to speed Dano up to get past many of us. He's gonna do great things when we put him in that like Jet Central Green Bean
Yeah.
Jets fan space of things.
You know what?
Um
I'd be happy with 1K, because then, people, I don't have to beg for super chats. I can just throw an ad in like maybe every 45 minutes and get a couple pennies. That's all I want, man. But honestly, man, if I can keep getting 20 or 30 in here chopping it up, man, it's therapy for me. I think you could probably agree, when you go live, like, you need to talk Jets and you don't have anybody, you're out of market. You're out of market. And so I've been my whole life out of market. So like, I can't even begin to have a football conversation with locals anywhere I've ever lived, because it's very, very quick to find out they're casuals when it comes to me. Like, but then on here, I can't always say that, because everybody, like you said it earlier, man, Jet fans are bad. Like, we suck. So the fact that we're still full time and we suck has to mean we are super plugged in and knowledgeable. And as time progresses, man, that's been the case. We get more knowledge, maybe too close to the team. I'm not going to lie, but enough to have sensible conversations like we have had here tonight. But yeah, it's therapy, man. First and foremost, man, like, you got 30. I think you 3.03 today. Cause when I looked earlier, it was 3.02.
yeah.
Dude, dude, that's because you've done it for a long time. I still need to get there. And, dude, appreciate you, man. But yeah, let me pass the mic back to you, man. But thank you. first and foremost for one, making time on a Friday night. That's been, difficult for some, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, for sure. You and Gunny are always like top of mind whenever I can like find free time within the schedules and whatnot, which I do a bad job of reaching out because there's probably been a few opportunities here and there for me to try to do that. But when I can recall or somebody happens to reach out and I think about it, like, yeah, if I can make the time, I definitely will. Um, but yeah, man, just the whole experience is fun. We will definitely. I'm gonna try to clear something out again, and we can do this on like a Friday again. Maybe we'll catch up with Murph. Maybe I'll be able to lock in like once or twice a month or something like that for this. Um, would more than love to. Definitely looking forward to some draft stuff. I don't know if you plan on dropping like breakdowns and stuff. I know I've seen some things here and there from you in the past. Um, but yeah, I think for the most part, just like me channel wise and everything, a lot of it is going to be start kicking out my breakdown videos or Jets targets anyways, as we go through and um still just going through. Like I like we're still doing like hidden stuff behind the scenes. So I talked about like the signing that we had in the front office with the analytics dude. We'll see if we still Jeff Stoutland, I'm still fingers crossed. Like, I don't know how we're going to pull this off yet, but I'm like, I don't see a run coordinator title within the coaching staff ranks. And, maybe you find a way to collaborate with him and like Steve Hyden on the offensive line or something. But like, I would love to still see that move come through at some point.
I too would love that. I think second only to that collab would be maybe just, Woody, like buying the Seahawks and just straight going over there, no collab, just go. But I do like that. I think I do like Hayden. That's strengthening a strength, right? And Charles talked about that tonight. If you guys been watching, strengthening a strength, get a center in there, whatever. But like Hayden did good, and he kept all five healthy all year. So I give him props for that. But like,
He
dude, if
could
you can
be our Jeff
upgrade,
Stoutland. Be a
what's
young
that?
Jeff Stoutland for us.
Yeah, young Jeff Stoutland, right? Indeed. Like, get anyone in there who can. Dude, this team needs. They need the guidance, man.
Give me some milk.
Dude, I'm not opposed to the throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, I know that's a poor, like a, a gruesome metaphor, but like,
I mean, if
at
you
this
can't
point,
attract like a genius to come in and fix things, which, why would a genius come here? Then yeah, that the next best thing is slap the baloney along the wall and see if it's gonna stay there.
facts. That's how I cook all my spaghetti, man. You just see what sticks to the wall.
As long as you aren't breaking the noodles, we're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
exactly. And as long as you don't leave it there, as my girl would say. Uh,
Touche.
um, DKB, man, appreciate you, man. Have a good night. Now I know your Pacific time. I can keep you till midnight next time. So you, like I said, you're screwed.
We're gonna lock in. Oh, I do. I have
Oh,
I I have a parting name, I
okay,
would say. Lock in,
okay.
look at this. This is a guy that I think like when I do a future mock draft, I'm targeting this guy and he's like a day two dude. But for the wide receiver ranks, if there's a scenario where we decide we aren't doing anything with that on day one, Malachi Fields is the guy that I've kind of been locked in on. And it's very recent. It's like literally the last 72 hours that I've had this like change of thought. But for the like
Is,
the style of guy that I really want and what he does, I'm there. He's my guy
is
right now.
that and help me? I'm kind of a casual with prospects, but is he the X type out of Notre Dame?
Malachi Fields was hold on, let me refresh myself. I want to say he was
I know he's X type, maybe.
X for sure. He's coming. Yeah,
Okay.
he was Notre Dame. I don't know why I was thinking like Miami or something like that. Yeah, Notre Dame, 6'4", 220-ish, somewhere in that range. The dude's not the general concept that I have of him right now without fully having dived into anything. If you wanted Ndamukong Suh in a wide receiver's body, it's Malachi Fields.
The first name and the last name separately doesn't turn you off.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Hey, I had to throw that one in there. No, I've seen him mentioned with the Chris Bells of the world. Hey, and as Afram says here, very knowledgeable caller you'll get one night when you're on. 6'4", 2.25. Man, that's intriguing. It is. Boss Girl asked earlier, what is, and I still have it pinned. It's the only reason why I'm thinking of it. She said, what is at AD Mitchell's top end potential? I don't know, but I would like to ensure it. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. Well, when you say insure, what does that mean? Like,
I
so
mean,
what
I
I
mean,
mean by
like,
that question, like, does that mean that you're not investing heavily so that he can still get the reps of being like a wide receiver too? Or does that mean just like coaching and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, like adding a second guy like that and hopefully one of two work out instead of
Got you.
demanding he does.
Got you. Yeah, I think yeah, I know there's a good section of the fan base that was just like Justin Fields wrecked the real opportunities for him to do anything, and then it was like Tyrod's injured and all that kind of stuff. But you unless he had proven himself to be an absolute sure thing, it's like just double down on it and give yourself the best shot of seeing who can make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. We,
But
we
I don't
need,
know. I don't
you
know
don't
about
know? I mean, we
yeah.
got Arian Smith. I mean, we should be all right, right?
Well, I guess that leads me to say also that I don't fully know about Sean Jefferson as like a wide receiver coach because I mean, who else has he done anything with outside of Garrett? And if you think that he was a proven product before we even got Sean in, then it's like, what has he really done? So,
True.
uh,
In
but yeah,
fact, I mean,
he might
Garrett
be.
let good, good.
Oh, I must have had a bad lag. What you
It,
said?
it's a couple seconds. My bad. I was just gonna say, like Garrett. I mean, 375 yards. Of course, he was injured. But what I will say is, Afram's backing your play. He's backing your play. He says that Malachi Fields 17 and a half yards a catch.
It's not even the wide receiver stuff that he does that gets me excited. It's literally just the fact that he plays like he's just a violent, angry man at the position. And so, like, I'm thinking about the run blocking automatically, and then just like imagine the guys that don't have a Sauce Gardner that have to line up against him, and he's just like stiff arming you to the ground during his route. And within that contact window, and uh, there's just a lot I like about him with what you can develop versus what he's going to give you from day one. And when you think about that bigger, stronger, faster kind of philosophy that everybody wants to abide by, like, yeah, give me the wide receiver that's not looking like he doesn't care about press man coverage because he's going to give you all the hands at the line of scrimmage too, and you won't keep that up over the course of a full game.
That sounds very nice. And I think from what I've seen, he's not going to go first. He might, I don't know where he's projected 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking second, third round is probably where he falls at. So like my vision right now is he would be my pick at what are we 43rd or something like that, 46, whatever we're at.
44. Yeah. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. It definitely got on my radar. If you do a breakdown or something, let me know.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It is coming.
Okay. All right. Hell yeah, man. DKB, brother. Appreciate you. Have a good night, man.
Likewise, man. Get some sleep. I don't know how you're like soldering this thing out like this, but get some
No.
rest.
I mean, I had some zingers here at the end, but now I'm cooked. I'm over. I made you laugh. Now I can call it a night.
Touche. Well, we'll do this again pretty soon, my man. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Chat, that concludes this episode of the Danger Zone. If you're still one of the 19 here, I appreciate you guys. We may do without the West Virginian. Make sure you let him know this was a banger without him. You know how I do with him. Co-host of the year until he's not here. Yeah, so appreciate you guys. Yeah, we're not shooting for the 4. I'm sorry, Afram. Yeah, this might be a record shortest stream, but we covered. Oh, dude, we had Dom and DK in the same 3 hours. Like, I have to ride off into the sunset. It's all there is to it. But also, like, it's February 20th. So hopefully you guys, if you didn't catch it all, go back. If not, I'll try to chop up some of the better bits of Dom and the better bits of DK, the better bits of Charles. I got some editing now to do the next day or two. Man, I'm rhyming a lot. Must be all the 8 Mile talk we had tonight. But 313, right? Hey, appreciate you guys. If you're watching on portrait mode, there's 4 of you there. You'll see the chat beneath me. Come in next Friday. Come in this Sunday. Come into landscape mode, and you'll be able to chat with all the chatters or stay in portrait. It looks like it's forwarding messages back and forth. So that's cool. But there was also a couple trolls that popped in and said some really nasty things. And it took me a minute, but I was able to get them removed. If anyone read anything that offended them, I am sorry. I will work on my speediness in eliminating that moving forward. I guess we're growing to the point where we attract trolls. Yeah. So yeah, again, if you're offended by anything that was said, I'm sorry. They did not represent my views, only the views of the commenter in real time. Chris B, man, thanks for joining us late. I appreciate you, brother. Man, we've missed you. Missed you, man. You've been late quite a bit, man. Where's the punctuality of Chris B? It's falling apart on me, man. But yeah, next week, Combine. Actually, not even next week. Here in a few days, Combine coverage begins. Next Friday, we're going to have Dom C on. But, I mean, if you want to see me soon, well, okay, this Sunday, Chaos and I, one last pre-Combine show. And then, look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy extending the show a few minutes. Carlos, you're making me in trouble, man, because my bladder is screaming at me, and now I have nobody to cover the show. So I'm going to have to hold it. Thanks, Carlos. Carlos, appreciate you, man. $2 super chat. He says, "What up, Dano? Good hearing from you." Carlos, if you're just joining us, and I'm logging off, I just want you to know that I've just put together 4 hours of me and Dom C. And, well, 4 hours total. I'd say an hour and a half of me and Dom C. And then over 2 hours of me and DKB. One guy is a talent evaluator, prospect evaluator. A week before the Combine, I think that's good content to hear him out. And then the second guy here with me for 2 hours, content creator for 5 years. So just know that good content all around. If you're joining me late, you still have access to viewing it all of it in all its glory. But yeah, just skim through it. You'll find some good bits, I'm sure, till I can edit out the best. Carlos, man, appreciate the $2 though, for real. You're going to pay for the next thing I'm about to highlight. Just kidding. But Scott Foster says $2. piss in a beer bottle. A beer bottle, Scott. Do I look like the guy that entertains beer bottles? Come on. Nah, I love you guys. Appreciate these Friday nights for real. Carlos, appreciate you, man. Hopefully you do get some content out of that, even though it's not going to be live now. You can go back and hopefully, again, you get to a bad topic, you just skim a minute or two, you'll get to something else. Scott, appreciate you, man. We did it, man. We did it without Murph. Take that, Murph. We did it with help from this community, for real. 2 co-hosts stepped up. One asked, one offered. Friggin' awesome, man. Can't state it enough because, one of these days I'm going to be forced to do this for 2 hours alone. But like every time I'm forced to, I get people step up and help me, and I love it. But at the same time, it still worries me that I still haven't sharpened the iron that is monologuing for that long. So stick around. You'll get to see me fall on my face at some point. Yeah. All right, guys. Good night. Friday night. Kick off this fire ass weekend. I hope y'all are off tomorrow. I hope y'all are off Sunday. Not a lot of sports to watch, but find something. There's basketball, there's Olympics, there's spring training baseball, Pete Alonso hitting bombs. Don't get me started. And then at the end of your weekend, when you're staring work in the face and one last sleep, you get me in chaos, man. So yeah, just go enjoy yourselves. Catch you guys back here in a little less than 48 hours. Have a good night. As Crispy says, spike the like button. And as Afram says, as the Brits say, piss off. All right. Good night. Oh, wait, what was I was going to end without the traditional music, man. You got to go out to the music. What am I thinking?
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. JETS, Jets.
Can't all be beautiful.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
You're in the danger zone.
Holy mackerel.